colleagues present. We have with us our Vice Chairs, Senator Win Gatchalian and Senator Bato de la Rosa, and Senator Amy Marcos, also Vice Chair, and our former Vice Chair, Senator Ping Lacson. Morning, Your Honors. I'm told the order of login is Senator Marcos, Senator Lacson, Senator De La Rosa, and Senator Gatchalian. So we'll follow that for the questioning later. But meantime, we'll turn it over to the Office of the Secretary for their presentation. But first, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of the DILG Secretary, Secretary Eduardo Año, Yusek Nestor Kinsay Jr., Yusek Martin Dino, Yusek Jonathan Malaya, Yusek Marlo Iringan, Yusek Bernardo Florese Jr., Yusek Epimaco Densing III, Yusek Rico Judge Echeverry, Yusek Marjorie Haloshos, ASEC Esther Aldana, ASEC Francisco Cruz, ASEC Florida Dihan, ASEC Ruske Calacat, ASEC Manuel Felix, ASEC Alexander Macario, ASEC Marcelo Morales, ASEC Odilon Pasaraba, Consultant Maribel Sacendoncillo, Director Bonagua, Director Villaseñor, Director Swansing, Director Zambales, Director Javares, Director Linson, Director Cerezo, Director Vilches, Director Benitez, Director Guanzon, Director Valeroso, Director Tabel. And the attached agencies, Your Honors, are the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos. We have Secretary Saidamen Pangarungan, Philippine Commission on Women, Chairperson Sandra Montano, National Youth Commission Chairperson Ryan Enriquez, National Youth Commission Commissioner from Mindanao Alexa Dayang Hirang, NYC Commissioner at Large Ronald Gian Cardema, Philippine Public Safety College President, Retired Police Lieutenant General Ricardo De Leon, Local Government Academy Executive Director Telma Vicina, Bureau of Fire Protection Chief Louis Puracan, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology Chief Jail Director Alan Iral, National Police Commission Vice Chair, National Vitaliano Youth Commission Commissioner from Mindanao, NAPOLCOM Commissioner Belizardo Serapio Jr., NAPOLCOM Commissioner Job Mangente, NAPOLCOM Commissioner Zenonida Brosas, Philippine National Police Chief Police General Guillermo Elazar, and our DILG regional directors are also here with us, as well as the COA DILG representatives. Good morning, Your Honors, to the DILG family. We'll turn it over now to Secretary Ed Año and his undersecretaries for any presentation. Morning, Vice Chair Amy.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Senator Juan Edgardo Sani Angara, Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson, Senator Ronald De La Rosa, Senator Win Gatchalian, Senator Risa Hontiveros, Senator Amy Marcos, other senators who might be joining later, our DILG undersecretaries and assistant secretaries present, Bureau's heads and other heads of attached agencies, our DILG regional directors, bureau and service directors. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Our honorable senators, every year I have come to you on a similar occasion and with the same objective as today, to seek approval for the financial program of the Department of the Interior and Local Government. And now for the fourth and probably the last time during the term of President Duterte, I, together with the hardworking personnel and officials of DILG, once again come before you to ask for your wisdom and guidance to better prepare ourselves as we face the arduous task of continuing the work of nation building in the midst of these most difficult times. Just like in previous years, this budget proposal is the result of careful deliberations with concerned offices and other stakeholders to make that resources or resource allocation and policy decisions are transparent and participative. This budget reflects our commitment to maintain the highest level of government services by wisely using resources to meet our community's needs. So in the midst of these challenging times, it is with great honor and deep humility that I present to you the 2022 DILG budget proposal through a prepared video. Please roll the video.
Pwede mo magalang po. And yung
Since the inception of its mandate, the department has always been committed to strengthening our local government units to adapt and overcome all challenges, including corruption. We have also been resolved in ensuring that our people go on with their daily lives safe and secure from the evils of terrorism, insurgency, criminality, and illegal drugs through our robust and capable peace and order and public safety institutions and workforce. Likewise, the President has always called upon the department to perform critical tasks along with other national agencies when the country is beleaguered by enormous trials or when he wants to get a job done. This is why you see the DILG actively contributing to the government's COVID-19 fight and in the crusade against the lingering ills that beset our people and nation.
Comsec, wala kaming makita online.
In fact, we have
Comsec?
lost several.
Yes,
prior-
repeat,
Check.
please.
Can
Mr.
we
Chairman.
stop the presentation? Kasi kami online, wala po kaming makita.
So I apologize, Mr. Chairman.
No problem, Sec. Maybe there's a problem with the connection. Pero if you have a finance USEC who can maybe just present the details of your budget.
Mr. Chairman, mag-present na lang ako through PowerPoint.
Sige ho, whatever works na lang ho. Anyway, the presentation of a video is a little unusual also.
yeah. We can see it now, Mr. Chairman.
Ayan, yan. Andyan na ho. Opo. Pwede nyo ituloy kung gusto nyo.
Can we continue the video? Yes, please.
Since the
Sige ho,
inception
sige ho.
of its mandate, the department has always been committed to strengthening our local government units to adapt and overcome all challenges in government, including corruption. We have also been resolved in ensuring that our people go on with their daily lives safe and secure from the evils of terrorism, insurgency, criminality, and illegal drugs through our robust and capable peace and order and public safety institutions and workforce. Likewise, the President has always called upon the department to perform critical tasks along with other national agencies when the country is beleaguered by enormous trials or when he wants to get a job done. This is why you see the DILG actively contributing to the government's COVID-19 fight and in the crusade against the lingering ills that beset our people. These are by no means easy burdens. In fact, we have lost several fire, jail, and local government operations officers and personnel in the process of leading the country. Gayunpaman, hindi nagdalawang isip ang ating mga bayani na ialay ang kanilang lakas, isip at mismong buhay. Mailigtas lamang ang buhay ng ating mga mamamayan. Kaya naman buong puso kong sinasaluduhan ang mga lingkod bayang patuloy na nagsasakripisyo ng sariling kaligtasan para sa kapakanan ng ating mamamayan. Truly, the DILG's role in public safety, governance, and development will only magnify the coming years, especially since the pandemic is still far from over and the need to sustain the gains of our peace campaigns cannot be put off. We must also prepare our LGUs in dealing with disasters lest they wreak havoc on our recovery. Kailangan din nating gabayan, tulungan, bantayan mga lokal na pamahalaan habang pinagdadaanan natin ang proseso ng devolusyon alang-alang sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema ukol sa Mandanas Garcia na kaso. Indeed, the demands of good governance and shared accountability must be kept by our LGUs, and the DILG is determined to ensure that local leaderships are fully committed to effectively meeting the needs of their constituents. As such, it is against this backdrop that we present to you today the DILG's proposed budget for fiscal year 2020. Optimistic as always that through your support, we can sustain our drive for good and participatory local governance, peace and order, and public safety.
The budget given to us through the National Expenditure Program shall be wisely and judiciously spent to deliver on our thrusts for 2022, namely, scaling up the drive for clean, honest, transparent, and corrupt-free local governance. Improve LGU's capacity to manage and overcome the COVID-19 pandemic, natural disasters, and calamities. Step up the fight against illegal drugs, criminality, and other peace spoilers. Uphold and advance the rights and interests of the youth, women and children, and Muslim Filipinos. Lastly, improve our internal capacity and adapt to the new normal. This initiative shall be pursued using the 248.53 billion pesos allotted to the DILG, which is a mere 0.4% higher than our current appropriation of 247.5 billion pesos. The breakdown of DILG's budget for 2022 per agency is as follows. When ranged against our 2021 levels, the Office of the Secretary, Philippine National Police, and the Philippine Commission on Women will have reduced budgets for 2022. While the Bureau of Fire Protection, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, National Police Commission, Philippine Public Safety College, National Commission on Muslim Filipinos, and National Youth Commission registered increases that are below 10%. Only the Local Government Academy received an increase of more than 20%, although such hike may not be enough to carry out its work in relation to the SC Mandanas Garcia ruling. While it is true that the DILG ranks as the third agency with the biggest budget for 2022, 85% of it will actually go to the salaries and benefits of our uniformed personnel, who we also mobilize for COVID-19 related functions, with 41,000 of them having contracted the virus and 130 actually losing their lives in the process. The remaining 15% are for the maintenance and other operating expenses and capital outlay. The highlights of our 2021 budget per expense class are as follows. For personal services, bulk of the allotment will be for, among others, pay and allowances of our uniformed personnel, creation of new police, fire, and jail officer positions, and filling up of unfilled positions for uniformed and non-uniformed personnel. The budget for our MOOE will be for the implementation of 22 projects for the continuous development of LGUs, operation and maintenance of existing PNP, JMP, and BFP stations, facilities, and equipage, subsistence and medicine allowance for persons deprived of liberty, rice subsidy for PNP, BFP, and BJMP uniformed personnel, funds for COVID-19 and disaster quick response, GA training center modernization. On the other hand, the capital outlay will be used to beef up the essential infrastructures, facilities, and equipage of the PNP, BFP, and BJMP, which is needed to boost their performance and to ensure the safety of their personnel while on duty. Likewise, part of the capital outlay is for the DILG and its attached agencies to operate and engage their respective stakeholders and clients through ICT in the new normal setting. From this point, we shall discuss the highlight of the budget of the DILG and its attached agencies. For the Office of the Secretary, our budget shall be used for the continuous implementation of projects for good local governance. This includes scaling up the LGU performance metrics and offering incentives to exemplary LGUs, deepening participatory governance in the country, enabling LGUs to learn innovative ideas that will help them address and overcome environmental, governance, and developmental challenges. When put together, these initiatives will surely help LGUs thrive under a full devolution governance setting brought about by the Bandanas-Garcia ruling. The drive for peace and development continues with the government's support to Barangay Development Program, which will bring needed projects to the people of 1,406 barangays previously bothered and terrorized by the CPP and PA. The same with the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, which will offer assistance to 1,206 former communist rebels, militia ng bayan, and violent extremists. Our 911 emergency services and Safe Philippines projects will provide prompt action on emergency and distress calls and make our streets safer from criminal and other lawless elements, respectively. Likewise, the strengthening of local institutions, such as the Peace and Order Councils,
nakapasok naman. Ay.
will lead to a stronger national and local government collaboration against criminality and other peace spoilers for peaceful, safer, and orderly communities. For the Bureau of Fire Protection, the filling up of 3,397 positions will improve the fireman to population ratio of 1:2,000. Meanwhile, the acquisition of, among others, fire trucks, fire boats, and rescue equipment, and construction of additional fire stations will improve its capacity to prevent and respond to fires, and thus reducing the number of fire-related injuries, deaths, and damage to property every year. The Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, its budget shall be used for the creation and filling up of 2,533 positions to boost its custodial ratio to 1:18 from the current 1:20. Procurement of prisoners' vans, firearms, handcuffs, and construction of perimeter fences meant to boost the security and safekeeping capacities of its personnel, as well as food and medicine provision for the projected 182,556 PDLs in 2022. Notable in the BJMP's plan next year is the installation of 30 isolation areas or cells for sick PDLs in big jails and the conduct of e-dalaw to prevent COVID transmission among the PDL. The Philippine Public Safety College shall pursue the professionalization of uniformed personnel through the following: enhancement of course offerings to cover current and emerging public safety challenges and to prepare close to 10,000 PNP, BFP, and BJMP course participants to handle peace and public safety tasks, which now include handling COVID-related assignments. Ensure that its learning institutions have adequate fixtures and equipage that will help ensure that they are conducive to learning and development. With the Mandanas-Garcia ruling and the national and local elections in full swing in 2022, the Local Government Academy will work to realize its capacity development agenda for LGU functionaries and LCEs, especially the newly minted ones, for them to rise above governance challenges they are sure to face in the next 3 years. Alongside the development of LGU capacity is the capacity enhancement it offers to DILG officials and personnel. Finally, After several attempts and appeals, the Academy has been given budget to commence the modernization of its training center in Los Baños, Laguna, which has long been needing improvement. For the National Police Commission, it shall use its budget for its supervision of the Philippine National Police, payment of police benefits, and speedy resolution of cases involving policemen. It will also spearhead strong police community relations, critical to preventing and addressing peace and order challenges on the ground. Philippine National Police anticipates that its police visibility, crime prevention, and crime fighting capabilities will improve through the filling up of 1,000 police officers' positions, construction of 53 police stations, and beefing up of its move, shoot, and communicate capabilities. All these efforts are expected to sustain the PNP's gain in reducing crime incidents nationwide and in improving its crime solution efficiency. Through the social, cultural, economic, and social protection programs of the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos, we expect to empower our Muslim Filipino brothers and sisters and improve their overall situation in the country. National Youth Commission will focus its sights on the continuous development of the Sangguniang Kabataan and the youth organizations in the country, so they will become government partners in addressing the needs of some 31.775 million Filipino youths. Our Philippine Commission on Women will work for women empowerment through, among others, ensuring the gender responsiveness of government policies, plans, and programs. Through PCW's efforts, we are optimistic that gender-based violence will decline and respect for women and children's rights will improve. Given the challenges ahead, which require the department to work safely and efficiently, we shall ramp up our ICT capabilities in an effort to continue engaging our various clients and stakeholders through online undertakings and improve our collaboration and information sharing with the different units of our department and other government agencies as well. Indeed, with or without the pandemic, we need to embark on ICT to make life and work easier, safer, and more convenient to everyone.
Katulad po ng dati ay tinitiyak ng kagawaran at pamahalang lokal na maayos at husay namin tutuparin ang aming mandato at mga direktiba ng kami ay magiging masinop sa pagtungkol ng pondong pinagkakatiwala sa amin at sa mga ahensyang kaugnay. With a few months remaining, time demands that we finish laying the foundation of peace, good governance, and development, which we began and have been working on since the beginning. We are now down to our last strengths. So I hope that we make the most of every opportunity. Sama-sama ng amon at suliranin na rin tayong makabangon ng bilang isang matatag sa Pilipinas. Dahil po kami tulugan sa mga tulungan at paglilidaw ng mababang kapulungan. Maraming salamat po.
Mr. Chairman, we are now ready to answer your questions.
Thank you.
Mr.
Salamat, Secretary Ed, for the presentation. We'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Nancy Binay. Good morning, ma'am. Again, as mentioned earlier, the questioning will be by order of login, there being no Senate officers present. And the first is Vice Chair Marcos, to be followed by former PNP Chief Senator Ping Lacson, and then another former PNP Chief, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Win, then Senator Nancy. So we'll follow that order. You have 10 minutes, Your Honors, as is our custom. Vice Chair Amy, you have the floor, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much. I have very basic questions. I was a little bit alarmed that the DILG OSEC suffered a reduction of 311 million. Most concerning was the fact that there's no allocation for contact tracers. Where will you obtain the funds for local contact tracers, being that it's not one of the projects enumerated, Secretary? Umaasa kasi yung mga LGU sa inyo eh. Eh ngayon wala na kayong budget.
Thank
I
you.
think that's part of his wish list. May wish list
Must
siya eh.
be.
Yes, we are submitting a wish list totaling
Okay.
7.3 billion, and allocated for that is the fund for contact tracers amounting to 6.2 of 25,000 contact tracers for the whole year of 2022, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, with the permission of Senator Aini.
Yes, Senator Nancy.
Hindi kasi during the budget hearing ng DBM, ang sinabi ni Yusek Kanda, di ba, DILG did not ask for a budget for contact tracing.
Correct.
Tapos bakit ngayon sila isasama nila sa wish list when at the on the onset, they did not even ask for it. Diba? So yun lang yung gusto kong itanong.
Ang sinabi
Let's
yata
ask the secretary, but I have a feeling it's because Delta was not as virulent at that time. So let's ask the secretary. Secretary, yung tanong ni Senator Nancy, wala daw yun sa original presentation niya sa budget call ng DBM po.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would explain the budget priorities framework in NBM 140, where agencies ceiling were already given, and with the meager budget level given with an advice that there will be no longer tier 2 proposals to be submitted. So the contact tracing budget was not included since in fiscal year 2021, the allocated budget for cities is made by Congress or under congressional initiative. So the DBM did not include the initial 500 million that we had in fiscal year 2021 in the fiscal year 2022 ceiling. In the recent DBCC hearing at the Senate, the DBM mentioned also that they did not provide any amount for contact tracing, not because they slashed it or not even part of the DILG request, but because the DILG proposal was submitted at the time when there was no Delta variant yet.
That's correct.
Yet with the wisdom of the Senate on how the adjustment will be made given the new information we have and the additional information in variants which may come and enter or that have really entered our country. And likewise, there was this assumption that without the Delta variant and we would achieve the herd immunity, then we'll be able to contain this pandemic. But experiences in other countries say otherwise, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you very much, Secretary. Yes, we're aware that the DBCC assumed that the vaccination would halt the infection, and I think it goes across the board, di ba, Mr. Chairman, na talagang hindi kasama yung tuloy-tuloy na mga variant. I'd like to inquire also, speaking of the variant, since tuloy-tuloy nga ito, you issued several memo circulars with the DSWD on the guidelines for the distribution of financial assistance. Perhaps you can give us the lessons learned from this since it became so controversial, the priority. How did you choose the priority target beneficiaries? What was the experience with GCash and other payment portals? And perhaps there are best practices at this point in the event that we once again need to distribute through DSWD and your office.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a technical working group composed of mainly the DILG, DSWD, the DND, and other representations from different national agencies. And our basis for coming up with the list is, of course, based on the
survey conducted by the NEDA PSA, as well as the four-piece list of the disability, and at the same time, the input from our LGUs, particularly those who are belonging to the informal worker sector. And now that we are going
I
now
think,
into
Mr.
the new
Secretary, that's what
elections,
became very controversial because there were several declarations that the LGUs were not to have any input because pinupolitika. Pagkatapos, yung DSWD naman hamstrung kasi yung tanging listahan lang naman nila, yung four-piece. So how did we come up with a final list of priority target beneficiaries?
Mr. Chairman, yung ating unang-unang SAP distribution, doon po tayo maraming nakuwang mga challenges and issues. And we were able to resolve that in SAP 2. But the problem in SAP 2, masyado po...
With all due respect, Secretary, yung SAP2, mas naging magulo kasi 10 to 14 billion, hindi naman na-distribute kasi tinanggal nga daw sa lista. What have we learned from all these difficulties?
Mr. Chairman, what we really have learned in these experiences is really the importance of the input of the LGUs, because it is the LGUs who really have the ground or the knowledge on the ground, especially in these times that people are moving around. So the list given by the DSWD is a basis only for a start, but it should be the input of the LGUs and making sure that the grievance and appeal committee would be able to get all the names that have been that are not included in the listing, and new people who have come to the localities. So na-resolve naman po namin ito pagdating doon sa ayuda. That is actually the third SAP, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Secretary, ito yung dinadaing ng ating mga opisyal na lokal. Higit sa lahat yung mga barangay kapitan. Kasi sabi nga nila, sa bandang huli, sila naman pala uutusan, bakit puro show cause, pinapa-aresto pa yung marami. Kung maaari daw,
Nag-freeze yata si Senator Amy. Nagalit yung computer. Anyway, in the meantime, we'd like to, while we're waiting for our Vice Chair, she's back. Vice Chair, how's your connection? Okay?
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We'd like to
Yes.
acknowledge Senator Francis Tolentino, the Chair of the Senate Committee on Local Government. Datu Francis Tolentino.
Yes.
Go ahead. You have the floor again, Madam Vice Chair.
Sorry, I was just going to say to the Secretary na hanggat maaari, liwanagin natin ang mga guidelines kasi yung ating mga local officials, sigit sa lahat yung mga barangay kapitan, litong-lito kung talagang kakampi ba sila o inaaway ninyo. Kasi on one hand, inaaresto, show cause, at kung ano-anong penalty. On the other hand, sa bandang huli, sila pala aasahan na magdi-distribute at maglilista. So perhaps now with 3 experiences, if the 4th or 5th one needs to be distributed once again, mas maayos na siguro.
May I reply, Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Yes.
please go ahead, Sec.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We acknowledge that in SAP 1 and SAP 2, we had really a lot of problems. And doon po sa mga na-show cause namin doon, it's not about on the system, but rather on the complaints of some residents where some barangay captain did not do their job. And there are a lot of anomalies, and they are the ones that are given with the show cause orders. But experiences in Ayuda 1 and 2 are really very good. In fact, wala na po kaming nakuhang complaint dito. Sa pagbigay po sa Laguna, Bataan, and NCR, ay sabihin ko po na perfect na natin po. In fact, nagsoli pa ng pera yung ibang municipalities of Laguna as well as Tabotas po dahil sumobra na yung pera kaysa doon sa recipient, Mr. Chairman.
Magandang balita po yun. So hopefully, wag nang kailanganin yung marami pang SAP, pero inevitably, palagay ko, magkakaroon pa niyan. Taon pa naman ng eleksyon, kailangan talaga maayos ang pagbibigay. Siguro itatanong ko yung Mandanas ruling at yung Executive Order 138. Ang kinakabahan na naman dyan, yung mga 4th, 5th, and 6th class municipalities. What has the DILG done to capacitate them for this full transition? Because as we know, they have very limited abilities in terms of engineering, health, and so on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Meron po kaming sinusunod na proseso kung paano ang capacitation ng ating mga LGUs depende po sa kanilang level of capacity. At saka meron din po tayong tinatawag na growth equity fund kung saan po yung mga disadvantaged municipalities ay pwede pang makatanggap ng additional fund aside from the increase of the ERA. I would like to ask my USEC for local government to further explain how this process is being done. USEC Ringan, please.
Sino po yun na Sec Anyo? Sino yung USEC for local government?
USEC Ringan po, Mr. Chairman.
USEC
Ringan.
Iringan, yeah. We'll recognize USEC Iringan to answer the concern of Vice Chair Amy.
Yeah, siguro ang itatanong ko, tapos na ba yung mga guidelines, yung DBB ba yon?
Mr. Chair, may be recognized.
Opo, go ahead, Yusek. Tanong ni Vice Chair Amy kung tapos na ba yung guidelines at ano yung estado po nung transition and yung concern niya yung 4th to 6th class municipalities po.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Indeed, Mr. Chair, the implementation of the Supreme Court ruling 2022 will have far-reaching effects, particularly in the delivery of basic services, especially to those local government units which the good senator mentioned a while ago, belonging to 4th, 5th, and 6th class municipalities or 6th class LGUs. But precisely, Executive Order 138 was issued, and together with its IRR, it aims to address the concern raised by Senator Marcos, Mr. Chair. And that is the reason why our national government agencies and our local government units are required to develop their devolution transition plan in order to serve as a basis in determining how best to implement the full devolution. Certainly, Mr. Chair, the national government agencies will still provide technical assistance and capacity development interventions for our local government units so that they can perform the responsibilities expected of them. And as to the different activities that would enhance the capacity of our local government units, the IRR of Executive Order 138 and the Joint Memorandum Circular by the ILG and DBM were already issued in June and July of this year. And our local government units are now currently crafting their devolution transition plans. Our barangays are expected to submit their transition plans by October 13 of this year, the cities and municipalities by November 12, and the provinces by December 12, Mr. Chair. And the devolution transition plans contains the different strategies that our LGUs will need to undertake in order to make sure that they deliver the responsibilities given to them by the full devolution process.
I suppose, Yusek, the real problem is that with the variants of COVID still infecting our population, the health services are meant to be fully devolved to the LGUs. So the problem is that public health will be seriously compromised with the implementation of the Mandanas ruling, particularly in the small municipalities. So ano yung holdover natin dyan? Kasi nananawagan sila mula sa poll na wag naman i-devolve todo-todo by 2022, kundi ihuli na lang sila kasi hindi talaga nila kaya lalo't may COVID. Are we making any arrangements for these contingencies in the midst of the pandemic?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Sagot lang, please.
Provisions of EO 138, the devolution process will be done in phases. Actually, it's a 3-year phase. And certainly, the national government agencies, particularly DOH mentioned by Senator Marcos will still provide support and assistance to our local government units so that they can deliver the basic services that are due our people.
So the
Thank you.
DILG is amenable to the delay, or at least the final phasing of the health devolution. Because if in truth, nowhere in the Mandanas ruling does it say that health is supposed to be devolved. Parang lumabas lang yan sa mga sumunod na EO o di kaya yung ating mga guidelines. So, hihingin ko lang sa inyo yung inyong payo dahil talagang hindi kakayanin ng ibang LGU. So perhaps the DILG can ask the DBM and DOH, hilong-hilo na po kami sa Senado dun sa mga dinidevolve na ospital, tapos i-re-nationalize na ospital, parang hindi na malaman kung anong gagawin. Perhaps the DILG can intervene or at least put in a good word, particularly for the small municipalities.
Yung Yusek Ringan,
May-
siguro yung more with the permission of Vice Chair Raimi,
Yes, please.
follow up on her question dun sa 3-year phase out na nabanggit ho ninyo, Yusek. Yung third year, last naman ho yung ma-phase out yung 4th to 6th class. I guess yun ang point ni Vice Chair Marcos. Para at least in the transition, they are enjoying those services for at least 2 to 3 more years.
Oo. Sana last na yung 4 to 6 class municipality at last na yung hospitals and health services.
Mr. Chair, yes, Mr. Chairman, we are part of the Committee on Devolution, and we'll make sure na there will be a smooth transition over the 3 years period, especially that we're still under the pandemic, and the IATF will make sure na our priority will be on addressing this pandemic and making sure po na the devolution will be in such a way that the DOH will still retain its programs addressing the pandemic and giving a chance for PIP and 6 municipalities to be fully capacitated before they absorb whatever programs that will be devolved on them. There will be no mandatory absorption of the devolved services, Mr. Chair. Although in Section 17 of LGC, ay matagal na po itong devolution na to, only that they are given additional era. But we'll make sure po na there will be a smooth transition. This is actually the essence of this committee in devolution and requiring them to submit their devolution transition plans para po naka-harmonize, especially on health services.
So thank you
Yes,
very much,
thank you.
Mr.
Thank you,
Secretary and Chairman. Isa na lang tanong yung sa COA report. The DILG has 3.629 billion in unliquidated fund transfers to various government agencies, LGUs, including NGOs. So, meron na ba tayong correction dito sa COA findings na nasa ayos na ba to? At ano ba yung detailed report dito? Kasi samot-sari yung binigyan ng pera dito. Malaki-laki yung halaga, 3.6 billion. And how were these transferred? For what purpose? We're a little bit mystified by this po.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I ask Asik Aldana to respond and provide the details, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please go ahead, Asek Aldana, please.
Mr. Chair, yes, the COA annual audit report of the DILG reflects an unliquidated fund transfer amounting to 3.6. And of this amount, as of August 15, Mr. Chair, we have already the balance of 2.8, and we already liquidated 761.5 million. We just have some problems on following up the liquidation due to restrictions on mobility in different LGUs, Mr. Chair. But the continuous submission of liquidation is being done because we have a monitoring team that also goes to the LGUs to monitor these unliquidated fund transfers.
Yes, we're completely understanding of the fact that it's very, very difficult. But perhaps for the outstanding balance, you can submit the list particularly for the NGOs, because they might arise as a problem later on. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and that will be all from me.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair Jaime. Thank you for taking the cudgels for our barangays and poorer municipalities. We now, next is former Vice Chair and of course former head of the PNP. Senator Ping Lacson, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Secretary Ed. Yes, the DILG recently released a baseline report. Last November lang ito. Yung baseline report, CSO, accreditation and membership in local government councils and special bodies. Now, kindly tell us yung extent ng civil society organizations membership and participation in local development councils. How well represented are they in our local development council deliberations?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I ask Yusek Ringan to answer the question, Mr. Chair?
Thank you.
Yusek, go ahead, please, sir.
Chair, as per the provisions of the local government code, the local development council should have CSO members comprising not less than 1/4 of its total membership.
Sino nag-accredit nito?
The accreditation, Mr. Chair, is being done by the local Sanggunian. And per our memorandum circular issued in 2002, there are criteria to be followed. And there are documents that have to be submitted by the CSOs in order for the Sanggunian to duly assess the CSO before the accreditation is being given.
Thank you. In actual practice, how well represented are they in the LGC deliberations? Don't get me wrong, I've always emphasized the importance of citizens' participation. Hindi lang sa local level, even sa national level. In fact, I'm encouraging na sa mga committee hearings natin dito sa national level, meron tayong at least observers or even resource persons from the CSOs. I have always advocated for that. So ang tanong ko lang, in actual practice, are they really participating or actively participating?
Mr. Chair, based on the assessment being conducted by our field operating units, CSOs have always been participating in the meetings and deliberations of the local development councils. In fact, Mr. Chair, one of the criteria in the seal of good local governance is the functionality of the local development council, and some indicators would include not only the membership but also the participation during deliberations of the annual investment program and the local investment development programs of the local government units.
Yeah, especially in the planning and setting of priorities for the development projects at the local level. Importante, hindi po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair. It's
Yeah,
very
I understand kasi yung ibang LGUs, ang reklamo nila, ang reason nila for not inviting CSOs, pampatagal lang daw. Have you encountered such comments or remarks from our local government units? Hindi na nila ini-encourage yung participation kasi nagtatagal lang daw yung deliberation, yung pag-prepare ng kanilang mga local development plans. So how do you connect these two concerns?
Sir, Mr. Chair, there are instances where that happens, Mr. Chair. But during those times, our field officers are being consulted by the civil society organization members so that they can properly have a dialogue and consultation with the local chief executive, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, yung study nyo rin, sinasabi out of 1,452 LGUs, nasa mga 87% lang ang rate of compliance. So how about those LGUs, the remaining 13% na hindi nag-comply. So wala man lang participation ng walang citizens participation.
Mr. Chair, during the assessment of the seal of good local governance, there is always an exit conference being conducted, and whenever it comes out in evaluation or assessment that there are no participation of civil society organizations in the local development council, this is always being given as a feedback to the local officials, particularly the local chief executives, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to pursue yung questions raised by Senator Amy kanina. Yung National Budget Memorandum number 138, ano? This is pursuant do sa EO 138, no? Ang sinasabi rito, in line with the implementation of full devolution, concerned government agencies should refrain from including in their proposals funding for devolved local projects for LGUs belonging to the first to fourth income classifications, ano? So, ang tanong ko is, what types of local projects and programs will be affected by NB Memo number 138? Which projects and programs that were lodged under the national government agencies in the past years will not be funded with budgets from the national agencies in line with the implementation of the Mandanas ruling?
Mr. Chair, the programs and projects that are covered by the National Budget Memorandum 138 are those PPAs listed in Section 17 of the Local Government Code. Those programs and projects and functions that are being devolved to the local government units. No? National government agencies, Mr. Chair, will all start downscaling the implementation of projects, and the LGUs will start upscaling the implementation of these devolved functions and services, Mr. Chair.
And this will be done in phases, no? I understand.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Yung real problems na nanggagaling sa ground, ano, yung talagang yung actual experience, no. We've talked to some LGU officials. Ang concern nila particularly sa HPEP, ano. We're funding the Congress is funding HPEP, Health Facilities Enhancement Program. Ang problema, yung pondo, while the district hospitals are located in the LGUs, ano, in the different provinces, yung pondo ng HPEP nando sa DOH. So, bakante or kulang yung facilities or even unmanned yung mga district hospitals, hindi nakakapag-service. Because DOH, sometimes they're slow in downloading or even procuring equipment for the district hospitals. So, hindi talaga nakakapag-service yung sabihin natin, serbisyong totoo doon sa mga constituents. Sometimes, inaasa ng DOH, even at the regional level, na gumalaw yung mga LGUs. And sometimes, yung LGUs, kung wala namang wherewithal to, to finance the facilities of their district hospitals, wala, hindi nagagamit tuloy. So why don't we just, in the, para ma-comply yung devolution, diba, Mr. Chairman, ano, and I think Congress can play a role here. Instead of course, we can lodge the budget for HPEP sa DOH, pero dapat earmark na natin na i-devolve na nila yung pondo sa mga local government units. Sila na yung mag-implement, sila na yung mag-procure ng mga facilities para doon sa ating mga district hospitals and even provincial hospitals. Kasi nangyayari ngayon, ang laki ng unused appropriation sa DOH dahil nga hindi naman sila nagpo-procure for district hospitals.
I think it's a good idea, Your Honor, especially also like the school building program. Malaki rin ang unutilized, and I think the locals are faster at spending that money. So I think that's something we should look into, and maybe our local government chair is here. Perhaps we need to revisit the local government code, because health and social welfare are two of the devolved functions, along with
agree, Mr. Chairman. I totally
agricultural extension, and yet they are some of the biggest national budgets. So yun ang irony, Your Honors, no?
Yes, I think for the 2022 budget, we should itemize and even earmark already funds for the HPEP and even personnel that will man the district hospitals kasi kulang na kulang doon sa mga ibang mga provinces, especially the poorer provinces. No? Nakatiwangwang
I
yung
agree with
ating
that.
mga district hospitals. Yeah.
It's
Now,
a good
moving
idea,
on,
Your
now, based
Honor.
on
We can
the
work on that, Your Honor.
yeah, thank you, sir. Based on the BLGF data sa 2019, yung IRA accounted for 76% of the total operating income of municipalities, 41% for cities, 78% for provinces. For all LGUs, yung dependence on IRA na magnify, comprising a high of 62% of their total incomes now. Now, my question is, can you tell us the impact of the Mandanas-Garcia ruling on IRA dependency of LGUs at different levels?
Mr. Chair, can you please repeat the question, Mr. Chair?
Yeah. Yung impact ng
Yung tanong,
Mandanas
Senator
ruling
Ping.
on IRA dependency. Kasi maraming mga LGUs IRA dependent, ano? So yung Mandanas ruling, anong impact nito sa IRA dependency ng LGUs? At different levels, ano, provinces, municipalities, cities, and even barangays.
Mr. Chair, previous to the implementation of the Mandanas ruling, majority of our local government units are already IRA dependent. So much more now that their national tax allocation share will increase. It is aggravated by the pandemic, Mr. Chair, where practically our economy came to a standstill. So local income of the LGUs definitely will decrease, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Yes. And since yung, di ba, yung NTA, computed ito based on the national tax collections 3 years back, di ba? So have you considered the impact of the low tax collections for the year it was in 2020 and even 2021 in relation to the NTA shares that the LGUs will be entitled to receive by 2023 and onward, 2024? Kasi bagsak yung collection, even yung local revenue collections, pati yung national, talagang bagsak. So have you considered that? Do sa implementation, yung phase implementation, sana naka-input ito do sa phase implementation ng Mandanas ruling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In fact po, kasama doon sa aming capacity building ng mga LGUs in compliance to the Mandanas ruling ay yung teaching the LGUs also on revenue generating measures para hindi naman sila masyadong dependent sa IRA. And of course, secondly, this transition period, we will really make sure that the LGUs would receive the needed capacity building. Of course, there are at different levels. So we will be, kumbaga po, hindi siya general solution learning, kundi based on the need of the LGU, Mr. Chair.
Nabanggit niyo yung capacity building, ano? How active is the local government academy in this regard? Kasi to capacitate municipalities, especially malalayo, baka kailangan i-activate natin yung local government academy para yung mga planning officers magkaroon ng opportunity to really on their own plan for the development programs of their localities.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Indeed, Mr. Chair, our local government academy and all our field operating units, Mr. Chair, are now actively engaged in capacity development activities for our local government units. We mentioned the rollout for the formulation of the evolution transition plan. This is now being carried out in the all provinces, cities, and municipalities in the whole country to help our local government units come up with the devolution transition plan. And at the same time, EO 138 provides that LGA will harmonize all the capacity development interventions, not only of the DILG, but also of other national government agencies and other institutions in order to help enhance the capability of our local government units transition to the full devolution in 2022. Indeed, Mr. Chair, LGA is spearheading the effort to further capacitate or to provide a capacity building interventions for our local government units.
Mr. Chair, one of the plans of LGA is to put up a satellite training venue in Mindanao to really cater to our municipalities, I mean to our LGUs in Mindanao. We believe that learning should be brought nearest to the stakeholders, Mr. Chair.
Correct. In fact, you must also pursue partnership with the DAP, ano? Kasi remember yung sa Yolanda, one of our legacy projects there, yung although it was funded by the USA, ano, 162 scholars, ano, took up masteral courses, mostly on development, ano, community development, and they graduated. So they're back now in their municipalities with a master's degree. But they have a contract with their LGUs to stay there for a certain period para yung serbisyo nila pakinabangan doon. So not only the LGA but also pursue postgraduate studies in cooperation with the Development Academy of the Philippines. Now, moving on, Mr. Chairman, yung PNP, meron silang tinatawag na Safe Philippines Project, ano. At sabi rito, which will upgrade the capability of authorities to reduce criminality and improve traffic management. Now, about 3 months ago, noong 25 June 2021, nag-launch sila itong program named Global Coalition of Lingkod Bayan, Advocacy Support Groups, and Force Multipliers. So what exactly is the aim of this program? Maybe PNP can answer?
Yeah, General Lazar is here.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, yes, sir. Actually, sir, this is the effort of the PNP that we've been doing for the past, even before, since time immemorial, sir. Sir, actually, ito, sir, yung ating mobilizing the different groups to help us acting as our force multiplier. Wala, sir, itong pagkakaiba dun sa ating mga effort na ginagawa to gain the support of the people by getting their support to us. It so happened that in doing so, these particular groups nagkakaroon, sir, ng engagement with them so that we can get their support and they will continue their engagement in the concern that could help us in the maintenance of peace and order.
Thank you. You know, last time I heard, ang PNP is a territorial force. Ang ina-address nito yung internal threats, especially criminality. But why Global Coalition of Lingkod Bayan, Advocacy Support Groups, and Force Multipliers? Bakit kailangan natin na more force multiplier global?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Sir,
Bakit
actually,
global? Internal threats tayo. Mukhang OFWs yung target dito. Well, I'll be very frank, ano? Pampolitika ito ng community relations, hindi ba? Kasi yung director for PCR nyo, kakandidato yung asawa niya sa party list. Now, my question is, how is it funded under the PNP budget? Kasi Global Coalition of Lingkod Bayan, Advocacy Support Groups, and Force Multipliers. Hahanap ka ng force multipliers sa Dubai, sa Saudi Arabia, sa Hong Kong. What gives?
yes, Mr. Chair. Sir, because of the deployment of our police attaché in the different countries and region, we are also providing assistance to them. So parang yung terms, sir, ginamit lang so that we can have engagement with the OFWs and their families so that we can assist them. But I would like to assure Mr. Chair, the members of the Senate and the people that this activity, this effort of the PNP to engage with the public will not be used for political purposes, sir. And that I will assure this body, sir.
Your assurance is good, but the nomenclature itself suggests otherwise. Kasi eto, coalition, therefore there will be membership. Ang tanong ko rito is, does joining the coalition entail automatic membership? Kasi force multipliers global, so naghahanap kayo ng mga members sa mga areas na maraming OFWs. So how can they help enhance the program or the anti-criminality campaign ng PNP that is supposed to be to address only internal threats? Hindi ko ma-reconcile.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair?
Yes, Senator Bato. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Senator Bato, kindly help me out.
With the permission of
Yes, please.
Sir,
Please.
yeah, I just would like to give an input on this. This program started during my time, and the purpose of the objective of this program was, as explained to me by General Sermonia, who was then my director of PCRG, is that PCRG being very much engaged with the people here, dito sa atin, sa local. Ang pinaka-problema na nakikita nila is sila ang tinatawagan palagi ng mga marinig ba ako, Mr. Chair?
Yes, we can hear you, Senator Bato.
Yung PCRG ay tinatawagan palagi ng mga OFWs regarding their concerns sa problema ng kanilang mga pamilya dito sa Pilipinas. Lalo lang yung uminit yung ating kampanya sa drugs. Sila palagi tinatawagan ng OFWs na yung mga anak nila na naiwan dito sa Pilipinas ay nahuhook sa droga, humihingi ng tulong para masikaso yung pamilya nila dito sa Pilipinas. So that started the advocacy ng PCRG na tulungan yung mga OFWs nila through their dito sa mga naiwan lang pamilya sa Pilipinas. At lumaki na ito ng lumaki, pati na rin yung mga may problema na OFWs doon sa abroad, tumatawag dito sa Pilipinas na nagpapatulong na may kaso daw sila. So na-utilize na rin ng PNP yung ating mga police attaché doon kung meron man, para rin mag-assist doon sa kanila. Of course, in coordination with the DFA. So, yun po ang simula nung ng programa na yan, Mr. Chair, Your Honor, Senator Lacson, sir.
Kaya pala nag-number 1 ka, Senator Bato, sa OFWs eh. Mukhang may kasamang bulong yun.
Mr. Chairman, with
ganito yan. Excuse me, Your Honor, Senator Binay. Siguro, totoo yun, nag-number 1 ako sa OFWs, but not really because of that program, but because itong mga OFW talaga, pinaka-concern nila, na while they're away, nasa abroad sila, naiwan yung pamilya nila dito, na problema sila sa droga, sa kanilang mga pamilya.
Yes.
So talagang nagustuhan nila yung ginawa natin na war on drugs. So siguro yun ang dahilan, pero hindi dito sa programa na ito. Thank you, Mr.
Yes. I agree. Tama. Senator Ping will give you back the floor, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
I have nothing against Senator De La Rosa landing number 1 among the OFW voters. In fact, I welcome it na nandito dalawa kaming former chief PNP. Now, 3 chief PNP nag-uusap dito, Mr. Chairman. 2 former and 1 incumbent. And 1 former is not convinced. Alam nyo, ganito na lang, palitan natin yung nomenclature para hindi masyadong obvious. Alisin na natin yung global coalition. Sabihin nyo na lang, lingkod bayan, advocacy support groups, and force multiplier. So internal. Kasi nakakatawag pansin dito, global coalition. So And alam nyo, project ito ni Director Sermonia. No? Magaling yan. Magaling talaga sa organization, sa organizing yan. Pero wag natin gawing obvious. Especially kung magkano ang pondo nito. I'm not planning to scrap, ha? Tatanong ko lang magkano pondo.
Mr. Chairman, may I butt in, Mr. Chair?
Yes, like Ed.
Go
Yes,
ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to assure Senator Ping Lacson that we have already actually looked into this matter. In fact, I made Police Director Sermonia and the GPNP report to me because now that we know that election time is coming, and there might be some misinterpretation. There might be some what you call that unofficial activities, and there might be also this chance that members of this force multiplier might be used for political purposes. So for this matter, we lay down the rules, and we, together with the GMP, we caution and gave warning that this force multiplier should not be used in any election-related activities. And as part of that, there was actually a sort of revamp, and Police Director Sermonia is now already with is now the Director for Operations. And he has nothing to do now with DPCR and PCRG. And we also gave instruction to the new head, Police Bustamante, Police Brigadier General Bustamante, to take charge of the projects and see to it that there will be no attribution to any election activities or any political partisan activities, Mr. Chair. So you can be assured of that, Mr. Chair.
Mr.
Very,
Chairman.
Yes.
With the
Ayun po,
permission of Senator
Nancy.
Ping.
Yes. Yeah.
Hindi kasi Mr. Chairman, di ba we're in the middle of deliberation dun sa DOFIL. Baka I think this function was overlooked by our chairman, Senator Villanueva, na meron pa palang isang ahensya na may function that deals with our OFW. So baka there's a need to inform that committee na baka kailangan ding ilipat itong function na ito ng PNP. Yan lang po, Mr. Chairman. And i-reiterate ko lang yung tanong ni Senator Ping kung magkano ho yung budget.
Yeah, good point. Can we get the answer on the budget, Sec Anyo, for that item?
May I ask the Chief Philippine National Police to answer the question regarding the budget?
Mr. Chair, with regard to
Yes, General Lazar, could we get the amount, please?
sir, particular activity, wala naman sir specific budget for that because that it is included already in our efforts of engaging with the public. So actually sir, yung buong LCAC fund namin for the whole year, for all the activities, amounts to 1.084 billion pesos, and that is distributed to all the units of the PNP, not particularly on that aspect of organization and mobilization of that Lingkod Bayan advocacy support groups. So itong budget na yun, sir, isa para dun sa 12 clusters distributed on different 12 clusters as part of our contribution to the LCAC-related activities.
If with the indulgence of our members, I just want to follow up, General. Saan tatawag yung OFW kung naka-distribute yung budget across the country? Saan siya tatawag?
On the mobilization organization of Lingkod Bayan advocacy support groups, we have identified at least 10 groups. Meron sa rin yung para sa mga women only. There are also for the youth or itong kabataan kontra droga and terorismo, LGBTQI, and in-include natin sa rin OFW. In fact, meron tayong foreign national keepers group. Ito sa rin yung mga foreign nationals na dito natin sa Philippines that we have organized so that they could help us dun sa kanilang mga concern nila at saka yung mga concern din natin. So basically, doon sa OFW, wala naman sir particular budget na nakaalat particular for that. Una sir, wala naman tayong travel para puntahan sila. But the police attaches na merong separate budget, kagaya ng sinabi sa Senator Bato, sila sir yung ating conduit or link doon sa ating mga OFWs so that their concerns of their families here in the Philippines could be taken care of with the establishment of our help desk in the police attaché abroad, as well as the help desk in the different police stations that we have here in the Philippines.
Ilan po yung police attaché natin worldwide, General?
Sir, eight, do you have, ano? Nine police attachés, 9 posts in the different places outside the country, sir.
Okay, thank you. Senator Ping, you have the floor again. Senator Bato is raising his hand.
I will
With your
wrap up.
indulgence, Senator Ping.
I will wrap up already, with this
Go ahead, sir.
question. On a personal note, the reason why I raised this issue, alam nyo, when I question yung propriety ng creation itong lingkod bayan na ito, you know what I got? I got attacked, yung opisina ni Yusek Loren Badoy, yung Strategic Communication Cluster, sa NTF LCAP's official Facebook, Twitter accounts. Tandaan ko pa Monday afternoon, September 20. Yung quotes were attributed to their ex-NPA cadre, Jeffrey, Eric Cadiz, Talagang binanatan ako ng todo. So, kung hindi politika ito, I don't know what is, because anyway, tinake down kaagad nila because siguro somebody advised them na wag yung gamitin niya. Yun na naman, Mr. Chairman, di ba? I had been defending the budget of NTF LCAP
Yes.
for quite number of years, And then when I started questioning lang yung propriety ng creating of the creation of the global coalition.
Nag-freeze yata si Sen Ping. Parang scene ito, pag exciting, nag-freeze, ano? Next ka na, idol ba to? After Sen Ping, pero
Tayo lang natin, Sir
siguro, antayin natin ng konti. Pero baka may questions kayo in the meantime, you can ask.
Ganito lang yung aking kuan, Mr. Chairman, if I may. Yung sayang wala sa linya si Sir Ping. Kasi gusto ko lang rin sana i-impress na kung kine-question niya yung parang extraterritoriality ng function ng PNP, actually it is not. Although nasa abroad sila, yung mga OFW, but still they are Filipinos. And we cannot just simply neglect kung tatawag sila sa PCRJ na magpapatulong. Mga Pilipino yan Kaya kinikita pa rin natin yung concerns nila. But we are not performing, the PNP is not performing extraterritorial functions. Nangyari lang na, sir, hindi na pala Sir Ping.
Go ahead, Ronald. Sa'yo
Sir,
na yung floor. Tapos na ako.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Senator Ping. Thank you, Senator Ping po.
I was just explaining to the good chairman, sir, and also to your good honor, sir, Senator Ping Lacson, sir. Yung ginagawa ng PCRJ na kini-question natin as parang extraterritorial function ng PNP. Actually, hindi naman talaga, sir, dahil nga although itong mga Pilipino na tinutulungan ng PCRJ ay nasa labas ng ating bansa, but still they are Filipinos. At kung itong mga tao na ito ay tumatawag sa PNP, particularly sa PCRJ para humingi ng tulong, hindi man natin pwedeng sabihin na hindi tayo aksyon. Hindi natin sila tutulungan. Dahil mga Pilipinos ito Nangyari lang nasa abroad sila. But yung kanila naman pagiging tawag nito, force multiplier sila na nakabase sila sa abroad, pero yung ginagawa nilang force multiplying ay ang epekto dito pa rin sa ating bansa, sa Pilipinas. So ganun po ang ginagawa nila. And I just would like to caution na Chief PNP, General Eliasar, huwag mong ikunik-kunik yung NTF-LCAC funds dito sa itong global police na ito dahil wala sinabi mo nga, walang funding na, walang particular fund na inalot ang PNP para dito. Baka mamaya, ikukunik na naman nila yung LCAC funds na yan dyan sa yung global police ni General Sermonia. Yun lang, caution lang, General Lazar. Huwag mong i-connect dahil malayo yan. Napakalayo. As you said, walang pondo na nakalagay dyan para sa yung global activity na yan ni Sermonia. So I subscribe to the suggestion of Senator Lacson. Tanggalin na niyo yung term na global. Mayabang kasi ito si Sermonia eh. Gusto niya global ang dating. Na malaki ang dating, global. Kaya gusto niya gano'n, may impact. Pero actually, kwan lang yun. Tanggalin na natin yung global na yan para hindi ma-misinterpret. Yun lang sa akin, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Wala ka ng tanong, Vice Chair Bato? Wala na po?
Ay, mamaya pa. Ay, meron pa
Ikaw
pala
na.
ako. May kalista ko
Because
dito.
you're the next in line, sir. So, ituloy mo na, sir.
Mr.
Oh,
Chairman,
well, you will give,
with
we'll
with
ask
the
Sen.
permission.
Nancy. Yeah.
Hindi,
Yeah,
with the
please.
permission of Sen. Bato, idudugtong ko lang na I also got that impression na yung pondo for global was taken out of the 1.04 billion ng NTF-ELCAC
LCAC.
na ni-raise nga ni Senator Bato na apparently mukhang hindi naman yun yung naging source of funding. Parang naki-ride on lang sila dun sa existing infrastructure. Parang ganun, no, di ba? Yun lang po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Nancy. You have the floor, Vice Chair Bato, for your continuing questions.
Yan, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Para lang sa kwan, sir, sa
Sabi ni Senwin, bulong mo daw yung sekreto mo sa kanya kasi tatakbo siya sa next year.
alangan sabihin ko, kontakin mo si General Sermonia. Anong pamalasin niya si General Sermonia? Kawawa naman. Actually, he's working really hard. Sana ma-appreciate rin natin yung ginagawa ng opisyal na yan. Talaga marami siya natulungan ng OFW. Dahil hindi talaga niya pwedeng i-ignore yung mga tawag galing sa abroad. Kaya gumawa siya ng ganitong inisyatibo. Going back to my question, Mr. Chairman, diretso lang ako sa Bureau of, to PNP, BAP, and BGMP. Recently, President Duterte signed into law RA 11549 or the Height Equality Act. May we know the status of its implementation and how many benefited from the passage of such measure? Because I have received a letter coming from BGMP Chief Iral stated that 510 talented young individuals were saved from unemployment and their families in this time of pandemic. How about the other agencies like Bureau of Fire and PNP? Mayroon na ba kayong recruit na with the implementation of this new law?
Mr. Chair, Your Honors, good morning. Tama po yan, yung recruitment namin for this year, 2021, meron po tayong a total of 510 applicants na nakabenefit ng batas na ito, yung Height Equality Act na kung saan ay kayo taga para makikinabang yung mga kababayan natin na na-reduce na yung height requirement. So sa BGMP we have 510, 449 sa male applicants, 61 po sa female applicants, Your Honor.
Thank you. How about the Bureau of Fire?
Your Honor, on behalf of BBEP, we have already implemented the provisions of the Height Equality Act. Naka-implement na po, Your Honor.
So may na-recruit na kayo na mga below 5'2" na lalaki at saka 5 flat na babae?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pag may numbers kayo, please give the numbers to this committee, ha?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We don't have I don't have the figure, sir, but we started implementing the provisions of the law.
Thank you. How about the PNP?
Sir. Sir, yes, sir. Sir, Mr. Chair, sir, for the PNP, in our recruitment, we already accommodated those applicants that availed that law. So this coming October, sir, for the second cycle, there are already applicants who will be recruited in the PNP service na pumasok, sir. Nag-benefit, sir, dun sa batas na yun.
Salamat. Thank you. Baka sabihin na naman ng ating chairman na source of votes na naman ito para kay Senator Win Gatchalian dahil si Win Gatchalian ay talagang lumaban para dito sa batas na ito. Yan lang. Maraming salamat, General Eliazar. For the Bureau of Fire, for fiscal year 2022, the 1 billion share in the fire code revenues will be used to augment another 28 units of firefighting and rescue units, making it to 104 units as well as the construction of 52 fire stations. How much has been utilized from the earmarked fire code phase under 2020 and 2021 GAA?
Your Honor, actually we requested for 1.4 utilization of the fire code fees because we have savings of around 8 billion at present. But unfortunately, only 1 billion is approved.
Kaya nga, Mr. Chair, tinanong ko ito, Mr. Chair, dahil parang mawalan ng motivation ang Bureau of Fire nito eh. Kasi kung magsumikap sila ng husto na makapag-implement ng fire code, makapag-collect ng maraming revenues, pinifix talaga ng DBM na 1 million. Mahina or malakas ang koleksyon, nakafix sa 1 billion. So, dapat madagdagan sana yung babalik sa kanila dahil sa kanila naman talaga dapat mapunta itong revenue na ito for their utilization. So, yun Mr. Chair, sa site ko, na sana maging adjustable ito. Hindi talaga
We can revisit that, Your Honor. We can revisit it in the period of amendments. We will listen to your suggestions, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to fire also, one of COA's recommendations to your agency is to demand from the local government of Manila the remittance of 49.8 million representing unremitted balance of fire code realty tax collected in 2014 to 2016. Have you done this? Did the City of Manila pay the BFP?
Your Honor, there was discrepancy between the remittances based on the BTR deposits. But some of the collections done by the local government units were not yet turned over. But we are continuing, we have continued coordination with the LGU of Manila regarding this matter.
So Manila lang ba ang merong sa tawag niyan sa Bisaya, batal sa inyo, yung hindi na babayaran o marami pang iba?
Actually, Your Honor, in our computation, it's around 16 billion, the total fire copies collection, and the records of the BTR is only around 14 billion, and there's a discrepancy of 1.6 billion. But we are trying to recover the old receipts and coordination with so that we can reconcile our records. This is a continuing project, Your Honor.
So I suggest na dapat meron kang unit in charge dito na taga-remind sa mga LGUs na kumbaga i-update nila yung remittance nila para meron kayong magagamit. Magpa-follow up. Yun ang trabaho nila. Taga-coordinate, puntahan, mag-follow up.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Recently, President Duterte signed into law Republic Act number 11589 or the BFP Modernization Act, which will enable BFP to embark on a 10-year modernization period. Tapos na bang IRR dito?
We are mandated to submit within 90 days, Your Honor, the IRR after publication of the law, and we expect to submit it through the DILG. Then our target, Your Honor, is on October. 15.
Thank you. So,
15.
alam nyo, based on the law, you have 180 days from effectivity date to submit the BFP modernization program to Congress. Meron na ba kayong ginagawa nito?
Yes, sir. Ongoing na po, Your Honor.
So, along with that, are there items or projects in your 2022 budget that will be included in your 10-year modernization program? Meron bang nakalagay ngayon? Kasama na sa 10-year?
Yes, Your Honor.
2022?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, another one is, hindi pa up yung aking 10 minutes, Mr. Chairman?
No, Head, no, you have time, Your Honor.
Thank you. According to 2020 COA report, there is a finding that the funds transferred to PSDBM and PITC totaling to 4 billion 137 million pesos for procurement of supplies, materials, equipment, and infrastructure projects remained outstanding for several years due to failure of said agencies to deliver the items procured. Has the BEP made a strong representation with PSDBM and PITC for the immediate delivery or demanded for the refund of unutilized fund transfers or any other action regarding this matter?
Your Honor, the total funds transferred to PITC by the BEP total to 3.389 billion pesos. As of September 10, and their letter signed by the Vice President Cristapel Erbega of the Government Procurement Group, 92% of the total funds transferred are either completed and under project implementation. The remaining 8% are, however, the promise to deliver and complete all the projects before the calendar year 2021 will end. Lahat po, Your Honor, i-deliver na nila before December 31, 2021. This year, Your Honor.
Yes, siguraduhin mo lang yan dahil alam mo yung PITC at PSDBM ngayon ay nasa hot seat dahil dito sa ginagawang Blue Ribbon Committee hearings, sila palagi ang na binabanggit ngayon. Tapos kayo, meron pala kayong pinasa rin doon. Paki-follow up ninyo ito na hindi magkakaroon ang doubt ang taong bayan na itong pera ng gobyerno, pinapakinabangan pa ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno. So ayusin nyo ito, please.
If I may add, Your Honor, under the PITC, we have 126 fire trucks, and supposedly the end of the delivery period will be on March 20. However, the PITC promised to deliver all the 126 fire trucks before December of this year.
Promise yan,
Instead of
promise.
March 2022.
Promise promise.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, salamat. Sa PNP naman, General Eliazar. Thank you thank you. Kababayan, salamat for answering my
Yes, sir.
questions.
Your Honor, sir, for PITC, as of this date, all various PNP procurements that had been...
General Eliazar, hindi ako nagtatanong ng nilagak ninyo sa PITC. Hindi ko tinatanong yan. Ang tatanong, hindi. Ay tatanong ko sa iyo is, yung lang, simple lang, yung body-worn camera. Ano na nangyari? Andiyan na, ginagamit na ninyo o ano?
Sir, the 2,686, 96 body-worn camera, we have already distributed them only to the city police stations. Yun naman, sir, yung programa natin nun eh. Kasi nga, itong almost 3,000 ito is just 8% of our requirement nationwide. And based on the previous arrangement or plan, only the city police station. That's why all of our more than 1,500 municipal police station have no body-worn cameras issued na galing sa atin. So we seek your support, the Senate and the House of Representatives, kung pwedeng madagdagan sa yung pondo, mabigyan kami so that we can procure more body-worn cameras and system to be distributed to other police units. In fact, itong ating sir mga special units like National Support Units, PIDEG, CIDG, they have no body-worn cameras issued by the PNP. So yun sir yung aming dialogue with the Supreme Court. Now that they issued guideline that all of the police units in the conduct of their operation, particularly in effecting arrest, should have body-worn cameras. If not, the issued one to provide with the alternative recording device.
Yes, you should work on this dahil meron na ngang in-issue yung Supreme Court, di ba? Rule 2, Section 2 of the rules on the use of body-worn cameras in the execution of warrant states that the officers wearing the body-worn camera shall notify the person to be arrested that execution of the warrant of arrest is being recorded. Kaya paano yan? Hindi na makapag-execute ng search warrant o maka-implement ng warrant of arrest yung ating mga municipal police stations dahil walang body-worn cameras. So, dapat kasama yun sa budget nyo ito.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, actually in the guidelines of the Supreme Court, it was stated there that if we don't have the body-worn camera issued by the PNP, we can use alternative recording device. So that is the subject of our dialogue with them dahil wala naman sir tayong in-issue sa kanila. Kaya, but still, naando naman sir na kung talagang wala, it could just be explained to the court that we weren't able to record this in the absence of the body-worn camera.
But still,
How much is that, with the permission of Senator Bato?
Yes.
How much is that body camera per unit?
Pero actually, yung body-worn camera. Sir, we procure the body-worn camera not only with the unit but with the system, pati sir yung ating mga command center. So I believe that for every set, one set of body-worn camera consists of 16 mismong kamerang units with the command center and the system. Pati sir to interconnected with the PNP command center. So lumalabas na parang 2 million ang isang set. 2 million na pesos. And ito sir ang requirement ng every unit. So that 16 na cameras, 4 of them have live streaming capability. While the other 12 units, they can just record. Pero sir ito, may yung specs niya, andun yung integrity so that it could not be tampered. Itong recording sir na ito. So we for this year, sir, we have additional requirement. Yes, sir. So we need that 32,000 more additional body-worn cameras for us to complete the requirements as of now to the different units. So far, we have been issued 2,696 units, sir.
So how much in pesos?
Lumalabas na 125,000 per body cam as part of a system. Tama ba?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, kung i-compute natin, sir, yung divided by 16, ganun, sir. Pero ito kasi, sir, it is not just the unit. But naging concern din kasi yan, bakit sinasabi napakamahal. But this passed through the procurement process. And napakatagal nga, sir, pinagdaanan. And eventually, na-procure, sir, natin siya.
Yes, but you need to buy that whole system? For every 16, you need a system?
Yes,
Hindi ba pwede yung camera lang ang bibilin once you have the system already?
Actually, ni-raise din sa namin yan sa Directorate for Logistics. Pero kasama sir yun kasi merong pati yung the police station itself, kasama na sir dun yung...
Yes, we see you, Senator Tolentino. Just wait for the answer, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, kasama sir yun. Bali sir, para lumalabas na per system, consisting of the 60 units and all the accessories, cost around 2 million pesos.
You're saying we need to buy a set for every 16? Is that necessary?
Sir, that was, yes sir, yun sir yung sinabi rin sa atin ng
I'll ask for an explanation I don't want to take up the time of the other members. I'll ask for an extended explanation on that, why we need to buy the set. Please explain the necessity of all of the appendages and accessories, please, to the committee. Senator Tolentino, yes, sir, recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just to add my voice here in the discussion, if you look at the Supreme Court circular, the Supreme Court was very clear that in the absence of a body camera, a law enforcer, either utilizing a search warrant or serving a warrant of arrest, can utilize backup devices. So perhaps there is a need for the Philippine National Police to really sit down with the Supreme Court right now and determine what is the meaning of these backup devices. Now they're allowing probably cell phone gadgets to serve as backup camera. So there is a need to clarify all of this, especially in the initial stages, considering the amount involved. But I agree, all police stations should have body cameras, but let's clarify first the backup devices that would suffice for evidentiary purposes as well as mentioned in that Supreme Court circular. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for that very important piece of information, Senator Tolentino. That's kasi syempre ang concern natin dito, General Elazar, is yung cost effectiveness, di ba? Magkano lang naman yung GoPro? Yan ang ginagamit po ng mga sports enthusiasts, di ba? Pag nagmo-motorsiklo, pag nagsa-surfing, how much is a GoPro camera that records very accurately? Yun lang ang point natin. How do we stretch the peso, especially in the age of the pandemic, Your Honors? Yun lang naman ang concern natin. So we'll ask for a written explanation of the costings, please. Go ahead, Vice Chair De Rosa, you have the floor again, sir. Thank you for lending us the time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last question na lang, Mr. Chairman, to BJMP. According to the 2020 CUA report, jail facilities already completed or undergoing construction in NCR and Regional Office 1 were constructed in a parcel of land for which the BJMP has no record or absolute ownership, and thus may result to loss of properties, resources in the event that future claim of ownership or right by a third person. Can you clarify this? Who owns these lands, and has due diligence been conducted in ascertaining the ownership thereof to avoid unnecessary expenses to the government? BJMP, can you respond to that?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman. Totoo po yan, na-mention po yan ng COA that we have already coordination with the regional director. Ang ano lang dito, Your Honor, yung pag-transfer ng title, meron talagang donation na ginawa yung LGU. So hindi lang kaagad nalipat sa BGMP kasi yun ang mga problema namin sa mga lot donations. Matagal talaga mag-transfer ng title from the LGU to the BGMP. Kaya na-take note ito ng COA, pero coordination has already been made with the regional director of Region 1. Pina-process na po yan, Your Honor.
Thank you for that answer. Kasi kung hindi ka nag-explain, ito lang findings ng COA yung ating babasihan. Ang ordinaryong mamayan talaga is sabihin na, ano ba itong BJMP, sinasayang ang pera ng gobyerno. Kustak ng kustak, hindi pala kanila yung lupa. Pero ngayon sumagot ka na mayroon pala itong deed of donation with the particular NGOs. So, I have no problem with that. With that, yes. Mr. Chairman, maraming salamat for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you to our Vice Chair, Senator Bato de la Rosa. Thank you for clarifying those points, Your Honor. Now we'll turn it over to another committee Vice Chair, Senator Win Gatchalian. Vice Chair Win, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magpapatulong lang ako kay General Bato bumulong. Galing pala bumulong mo to, kaya nanalo number 1 to sa mga OFWs. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I want to pursue the questioning of Senator Bato. He opened up a lot of things, no, and just to echo the sentiment of Chairman Angara, medyo nagulat po ako dun sa presyo ng body cam. And with all due respect to General Elazar, yung 125,000 per body cam is quite shocking. No? Tama si Chair Sani because yung GoPro, ang pinakamahal is 30,000 na siguro. Pinakamahal na yun, no? The most high end. But I was quite shocked to hear that one body cam unit is 125,000.
As part of a system, just to clarify,
As
Vice
part of
Chair
the
Win.
system.
But that's why I asked, I was very curious. I asked for details and we'll give you whatever
Yes.
they furnish us regarding what the additional accessories are.
Correct. So just to give the benefit of the doubt, we'll wait for that technical explanation to see what the system is capable of. No, obviously this is a much more sophisticated and high-end system, and I'm not naman prejudging, but I just want to echo that we need to be very precise in terms of the technical specifications. And also pursuing the questioning of Senator Bato on the BFP advances to PITC. No, tama kayo, Sen Bato, na ang laki po yung binigay na advances to the Philippine International Trading Corp. In fact, this was part of the interpellation during the BFP Modernization Act. So I want to ask the BFP, yung 3.4 na ibinigay po sa PITC, kasama ho doon yung construction of fire station. Tama po ba to the BFP?
Yes, Your Honor.
How come nagbigay ho tayo ng, if my data is correct, how come we gave 100 million to a trading company to construct fire stations? What are they much more qualified to construct fire stations versus, let's say, the BFP constructing it? What is their advantage, no, over BFP in terms of constructing fire stations?
The background of this, Your Honor, is that there was a time wherein the back members of the BFNHQ were laden with cases, yung mga losing bidders. So that time, they were hesitant to bid out and they opted to transfer the funds to PITC. That was the reason during the time, Your Honor. But starting 2018, all procurements, whether equipment or fire stations, are now done with the BFP and HQ back. That was prior years, by Your Honor.
So the 3.4 billion is from what year or which years, sir? Because that's a substantial amount. So when was this 3.4 billion transferred to PITC?
It started in 2017, Your Honor, and actually, Your Honor, most of these are for fire trucks, equipment, ECBA, and the construction of the fire station that you said is in 2017. But in their letter dated September 10, 2021, they stated that all the projects will be completed and completed by December 31, 2021. So ito pong 100 fire stations are due for completion before December 31, 2021. May coordination na po dito, Your Honor. Lalong bumilis this year na nung na take caution na may transfer ang funds to PITC. Napabilis yung
Sir,
galaw.
anong year yung nilipat ho sa PITC with the permission of Senator Win? Anong year po yon yung nilipat?
2017, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Sir, I stand corrected. No, based on the records, they're about close to 1 billion pesos. If my notes are correct, transferred to PITC for the construction of different fire stations. Tama po ba? About 1 billion?
Yes, Your Honor. First is for Regions 1, 9, 12 car, 26 fire stations in the amount of 251,087,000. Then another 70 fire stations for regions 2, 3, 4A, 4B, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, and Caraga. Then 2 fire stations amounting to 37 million for Nabota City and Pagadian City.
Well, sir, my opinion of this is PITC is taking this too far. They're a trading company, not a construction company, and I'm not pointing fingers at BFP, no, because it's PITC who took the money and promised to construct all of these fire stations. But if you're saying that those funds were transferred in 2017, and only this year the fire stations will be turned over, so it took them close to about 4 or 5 years to construct fire stations all over the country and to transfer it to BFP. So ganun ho katagal to build a fire station? Is that correct, sir?
Your Honor, there were already fire stations that were turned over and delivered. However, there are still ongoing fire stations due to some problems. One is some LGUs wanted to transfer the lot donations to another location. So nagkakaroon po ng problema. Pangalawa pong problema is price escalation. The money is in 2017, awarded yung contract in 2021, early this year. So may price escalation. Nag-adjust doon sa program of works. And another, Your Honor, is some of the projects, nagkaroon ng concern sila dahil yung project does not include yung site development. May mga hilly portions na naibigay yung lote. During the site inspection, hindi nila napansin na iba pala yung lote na donate. But these concerns have been addressed already, Your Honor, and PITC promised to deliver all these projects before the year end.
Well, sir, it's been Senator Bato mentioned earlier. No, this is a source of controversy recently and in the past months.
Max or
Not only controversy, but COA has flagged this many times. So it's official that PITC has issues in terms of delivery of projects and absorption capacity. So I would really caution BFP in terms of transferring funds and advise BFP to develop their own capacity in terms of building fire station, buying equipment. This is an ongoing concern, and this is a part of BFP's activity, no, to build their own capacity. So I would advise BFP to, instead of transferring it to a trading company, to build your own capacity in terms of construction and buying equipment.
If I may add, Your Honor, starting 2018, all the procurements, whether equipment or fire stations, have been done already by the national office, by the BPNHQ PAC. Since 2018, Your Honor, hindi na po kami nagtatransfer ng funds. Lahat po ng procurement is done with the BEP.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'd like to direct my question to Secretary Anyo, and this is regarding the Mandanas ruling. Secretary, we had some discussion on this earlier, no? But in simple terms, what will be devolved to the local government? What is the vision of the department in terms of devolving several functions, several responsibilities to the local government? I know it's an ongoing concern through the EO 138, but what is the vision? No? Because honestly, maraming local governments po is asking us, no? And it's becoming a guessing game But what is the envision of DILG in terms of applying the Mandanas ruling and devolving certain functions, making the local governments responsive? Yun naman ang gusto ho natin eh. Mabilis yung kanilang responde.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, the role of the DILG is to ensure there is harmony or harmonize and ensure the complementation of capacity building for LGUs on the following, among others, vertical alignment of plans and investment programs alongside with the national government agencies and the different LGUs who shall absorb these devolved services. And then, of course, capacitate our LGUs towards LGU public financial management and horizontal alignment of plans, budgets, and expenditures through issuance of pertinent policies and capacity building, and enhance capacity of LGUs on exercising their oversight functions. That means to say, the provinces over component cities and municipalities, and cities and municipalities over the barangays. Strengthen the horizontal linkage between the LGU plan, the investment program, and the budget, which should insulate the implementation of priority PPAs from the possible effects of a change in administration in fiscal year 2022, and scale up performance monitoring tools and instruments such as the Seal of Good Local Governance. In other words, Mr. Chair, though in the Local Government Code under Section 17, ay nandun na po yung devolution of functions and services for the inherent to the local autonomy. Now, with the additional era for 2022, that's about 37 to 38%. So we'd like to slowly prepare the LGUs to absorb the devolved services in accordance to their capacity. This will be a 3-year transition. So ang trabaho po ng DILG is really to bridge the LGU with the national government agencies. We understand that the LGUs are not prepared to immediately absorb all these devolved services. So dapat ay depende sa kakayahan niya. And making sure also na yung mga marginalized and disadvantaged municipalities can avail of the 10 billion growth equity fund. So yan po yung nakikita nating vision for the next 3 years, Mr. Chairman.
How about yung actual services secretary? Do you have any vision on what are the actual services that will be devolved? For example, po in terms of health, in terms of education, in terms of, let's say, public order, things like that. Meron na ho kayong na-envision?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to, if I may ask yung Secretarian by Undersecretary for Local Government to provide the details, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. And sir, attached doon sa National Budget Memorandum 138, yung assignment of devolved services to the different national government agencies that will be absorbed by our local government units. Particularly, for example, for the Department of Trade and Industry, the functions that will be devolved to the provinces will be investment support services, including access to credit financing. And for the municipalities, information services on investment information systems. That is for the Department of Trade and Industry. For the Department of Tourism, those that will be devolved to the provinces will be tourism development and promotion programs, while for the municipalities, tourism facilities and other tourist attractions to include acquisition of equipment, regulation and supervision of business concessions, and security services. There are 18 national government agencies which are mentioned in the National Budget Memorandum Circular 138, Mr. Chair, and all the functions and services that they will downscale are all provided in Section 17 of the Local Government Code and other subsequent laws passed by Congress, which would assign or devolve functions and services to local government units. The national agencies mentioned in here, Mr. Chair, are the Department of Tourism, the National Housing Authority for the housing programs, National Irrigation Administration for communal irrigation systems. We also have the Department of Social Welfare and Department of Social Welfare and Services, SWD, social welfare services to include programs for rebel returnees, relief operations, and population development services. Social welfare services to include child and youth programs, family and community programs, welfare programs for women, elderly, and persons with disabilities. For the Department of Public Works and Highways, we have the provincial roads and bridges, intermunicipal waterworks, drainage and sewerage, flood control and reclamation projects. Also municipal roads and bridges, small water impounding projects, and other similar projects. That's for the DPWH. Mr. Chair, for the Department of Labor and Employment, we have information services, which will include job placement and information system. For the Department of Information and Communications Technology, we have intermunicipal telecommunication services. For the Department of Health, we have health services, which would include hospitals and other tertiary health services for the provinces. And for the municipalities, we have health services, which include the implementation of programs and projects on primary health care, maternal and child care, and communicable and non-communicable diseases, and access to secondary and tertiary health services, purchase of medicines and medical supplies and equipment. For the Department of Finance, BLGF, upgrading and modernization of tax information and collection services, and information services, which would include tax and marketing information systems. For the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, we have enforcement of forestry laws, implementation of community-based forestry projects, which would include integrated social forestry programs and similar projects. For the Department of Education, Mr. Chair, we have for the municipalities, school buildings and other facilities for public elementary and secondary schools, and information services, which would include maintenance of public library. For the Department of Agriculture, we have for the provinces, agricultural extension and on-site research services and facilities, which would include the prevention and control of plant and animal pests and diseases, dairy farms, livestock markets, animal breeding stations, and artificial insemination centers that will be devolved to the provinces. For the municipalities, we have agricultural extension, on-site research services, and facilities related to agriculture and fishery activities, dispersal of livestock, poultry, fingerlings, and seedlings, operation of demonstration farms, and improvement of distribution of local distribution channels, and also inter-barangay irrigation systems. Mr. Chair, those are the devolved functions and services to be downscaled by different national government agencies starting 2022. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Mr.
Edwin, you
yeah,
have the
Mr.
floor again, sir. I think you're on mute.
Mr. Chair, may I add, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Secretary, please.
Yeah, what Yusek Ringan has mentioned are listed or enumerated in the implementing rules and regulations of Executive Order 138, and we have given copies to the LGUs by which they will use the IRR as basis for their devolution transition plans, which they will submit. The last day will be 12 December 2021, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Yusek. Yusek, I didn't hear public order as part of those ones that that will be devolved. Meron bang aspect in public order? Is there anything related to public order?
Mr. Chair, for public safety and order, I think that shall be retained by the respective bureaus who have functions on that. Like, for example, BJMP, Bureau of Fire Protection, and the PNP, they shall be retained with these respective bureaus as mandated by law, Mr. Chair.
Well, Secretary, the reason why I asked that, no, because I am studying this proposal and I want to put this on the table. For highly urbanized cities like Valenzuela, these cities virtually funds all the equipment, all the buildings, infrastructures of the BFP. No, like for example, sa Valenzuela, yung fire station po, LGU nagbigay. Yung mga fire trucks, majority is LGU. Ang natitira po na lang ay yung sweldo ng tao is with the BFP. I just want to put this on the table that I think one of the departments or one of the offices that can be devolved is the BFP to the local government units. And the reason for that is it will make the local government units more responsive when it comes to fires, disasters, and natural calamities. We all know that natural calamities and disaster is the mayor's job. And you cannot disassociate responding without the help of the BFP. So our proposal, I just want to put this on the table for future study, is to devolve the BFP to highly urbanized cities. And then to those cities that cannot absorb it, ang proposal ko, Secretary, is to devolve the regulatory function. The BFP has two functions, the regulatory and the fire response. Yung regulatory, yung pag-issue ng FSIC, yung pag-inspection, that can be partnered with the building official. Kasi yung building official, ganun rin po yung ginagawa niya. Inspection, tinitingnan yung plano. The same with what the regulatory function of the BFP is doing. So my point here is to make the LGU more responsive and to cut red tape, we can devolve the BFP to highly urbanized cities and devolve the regulatory functions of the BFP to the smaller LGUs who cannot absorb it for now. That way, the LGUs will be responsive by way of responding to fires. And then also in terms of business application, sila na bahala lahat. Wala nang turuan na mabagal si BFP, mabagal si building official. Everything will be under the building official. I just want to put that on the table. I know my legislation involved that, Secretary, because of the fire code and the other things. But that's one of the things that I want to put on the table for the department to study in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for this suggestion, Senator Win Gatchalian. We will study that matter. But for now, the devolution of the function of BFP was not mentioned in the Mandanas Garcia ruling, and the devolution of BFP functions would actually require an amendment of RA 6975. But at present, sir, the arrangement, highly urbanized cities usually augment the equipment of our BFP with the provision that this equipment shall remain to be owned by the LGU. And if, for example, BFP units are transferred out of the LGU, those equipment shall remain with the LGU and shall be used by whatever incoming BFP unit be assigned to a particular LGU. But thank you, Mr. Chair. We will study your proposal, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Before I give the floor back to Senator Win, I'd like to acknowledge Senator Bong Revilla, who's also online. Go ahead, Vice Chair Win. Very good suggestions there, and perhaps maybe Congress and the executive could act in concert to fulfill that, because that would take some of the burden of the national and also give better services to the less capacitated municipalities. Thank you. Anyway, you have the floor again, sir.
Yeah. On a last note, Chairman, I remember visiting Davao when I was a mayor, and at that time, the president was still a mayor at that time, and they have what they call the fire auxiliary. And I remember because nga because of the meager funds of BFP at that time, they had to create their own fire auxiliary. No, may firemen sila, may fire equipment, but this is to support the BFP because under the law, the BFP is still the office in charge whenever there's fires. No? So, but the point there is, on the ground, it's really the LGUs that support the BFP. So why not just give it to the LGUs because they spend for the equipment, they spend for the infrastructure. And I know this demands legislative action, but the economics and the finances that is necessary, I would like to request the DILG to study that possibility, so that the legislators can be guided accordingly if this will be pursued. So that's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. It really shows, Vice Chair Win, that you were an awarded multi-term local chief executive with many innovations. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Pero mas magaling pa rin yung bulong brigade ni General Bato, no? Dahil nag-number 1 sa OFW.
Abilidad
yan.
ang tawag doon, abilidad. Maabilidad ang kasama natin. I'd like to turn it over now to Senator Nancy Binay. Ma'am, you have the floor po.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Sherwin, I think kailangan mag-schedule tayo kay Sen Bato ng seminar. Mr. Chairman, Secretary, good afternoon, Secretary Ana. Itatanong ko lang ho, magkano ba yung budget nyo for this year sa NTF-LCAC and for next year?
For the NTF-LCAC, yung PNP. Mr. Chairman, our budget for in support to the Executive Order number 70, we have 85 million for C4Ps, or known as Communicating for Perpetual End to Extreme Violence and Forming Alliance Towards Positive Change in Enriched Communities. And then we have also Preventing Encountering Violent Extremism and Insurgency at 25 million pesos. And for the Philippine National Police, we have 1,084,433. So a total of 1,194 million for 873,000, Mr. Chair, in support of EO 70.
And for next year po, Secretary?
Mr. Chairman, ito po yung binanggit ko for fiscal year 2022.
Okay, for this year po?
The same din po, Mr. Chairman, ang budget namin, 1.194 billion.
Okay. Siguro, Secretary, can you just submit to the committee kung ano yung mga activities, lalong-lalo na ho din sa PNP, na more or less, more than 1 billion yung budget nila. Kung ano yung mga projects na pinagasusan ng ganitong kalaking budget. For submission
Yes,
na lang ho.
Yes, Your Honor. We will submit it immediately.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And dun ho sa Bureau of Jail, alam naman ho natin na talagang sobrang congested ang ating mga kulungan ngayon. Secretary, at ngayon ho ba ilang percent yung over capacity yung mga jails natin?
Mr. Chairman, can I Chief Bureau Technology to provide the details?
Yes, I think they're here with us. We'll
Thank
turn it
you,
over
Mr.
to the
Mr.
jails.
Chairman, Your Honors. Sa ngayon po, kasi tumataas na naman po yung jail population natin nationwide. Nasa 415% na po yung congestion rate natin, Mr. Chairman, Your Honor.
And meron ho ba tayong plano on how we can decongest this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Your Honors. Ang mga initiatives po na ginagawa ng BGMP para ma-decongest yung mga jail facilities natin, unang-una, we requested budget allocation for the construction, improvement, and repair of our jail facilities. Then number two, yung continuous coordination namin sa LGUs for lot donations. Kasi kahit meron namang pondo na available, Your Honor, kung wala talagang magbibigay din ng lote sa BGMP, hindi din tayo makagawa ng mga kulungan. Then, ang implementation po ng plea bargaining to qualified PDL charged with violations of RA 9165 at saka yung paralegal programs natin na nire-enforce talaga natin to na mapagpatibay pa natin to kasi marami tayong nare-release ng mga PDL through our paralegal initiatives, Your Honor. So ito yung mga ginagawa ng BGMP para ma-decongest yung mga facilities natin nationwide.
Okay. Siguro baka pwede i-submit yun na lang ho dun sa committee kung ano ho yung mga lugar na may problema tayo because of lot donation.
Opo, Your Honor, we will do that po.
And ilang % ho yung napapalabas nyo through plea bargaining?
You're asking, Your Honor, kung ilan yung napapalabas namin for plea bargaining?
Yes, yung ano yung kumbaga success rate nyo with this program.
Himay-himayin po namin to, Your Honor.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
yung-
siguro, Mr. Chairman, maybe you can just submit to the committee para hindi rin makakuha ng oras. And
Yes,
siguro,
Honor.
wala ho ba kayong long-term plan when it comes kung education to prevent people from going to jail? Wala ho bang ganung
Meron po
ano ba
tayo
tawag? Program?
Yes, Your Honor. Meron po tayo mga livelihood programs, educational programs, mga vocational trainings na binibigay natin sa mga PDL natin habang nasa kulungan sila ng BGMP. Balikan ko lang yung tanong kanina, Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, na sa kabuuan po, nakapagpalabas po ang BGMP ng 101,493 PDLs. So, nang nag-start po itong pandemic, so karamihan dito, yung naipalabas natin through plea bargaining, Your Honors. So we
Okay.
will provide you with the data. Bibigyan po namin kayo ng data nito para makuha ninyo yung true picture, makita ninyo kung ano-ano pa yung ibang modes of release
Okay.
na na-avail.
And kumusta naman po yung vaccination status ng Bureau of Jail?
As far as the vaccination status is concerned, Mr. Chairman, Your Honor, sa personnel po namin, Your Honor, ang total vaccinated personnel po ng BGMP ay 85% na. Out of this number, ang full dose, 76.58%. Sa PDL naman, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, ang vaccinated na po namin ay 50.56%. Ang full dose na nabakunahan na ng mga PDL ay 25%. Kung i-translate po natin to sa actual numbers, Your Honor, ang total vaccinated PDL ay 62,435. Ang full dose po dito ay 31,122. So yun na po yung vaccination namin.
And yung dun ho sa mga PDLs nyo, ano naman ho yan? Kumbaga, well spread out into the sa mga probinsya or more or less nakafocus dito yan sa NCR Plus?
Majority po, Your Honor, dito sa NCR, yung karamihan ng mga PDL natin ay nandito sa National Capital Region po. We have a total of jail population here of 27,776. So, malaki po nandito sa NCR, Your Honor.
Okay. I guess medyo kailangan mag-catch up po tayo sa probinsya pagdating din sa vaccination program nila. And meron din ho bang programa yung BJMP to retrofit yung ibang facilities na to make it COVID resilient?
For this year, Your Honor, binigyan po kami ng more or less 73 million ng DBM para magtayo kami ng 30 isolation cells for sick inmates doon sa mga jails nationwide lang, identified lang po, 30 jail facilities with a budget of more or less 2.4 million, Your Honor. Bibili kami ng mga antigen machine, mag-provide kami ng oxygen. Ilalagay po namin sa identified 30 jail facilities nationwide, Your Honor.
Okay. And sufficient na ho to or pwede pang dagdagan?
Pwede pang dagdagan, Your Honor, considering na 472 po yung jail facilities natin nationwide. So 30 lang po, good for 30 jails lang po yung pwede nating malagyan.
Oh, ang layo.
Malayo po talaga, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
Pero anyway, namamanage din naman po namin yung contagion ng COVID-19 sa ating mga jail facilities, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you po. Sa ano naman sa PNP, what is your vaccination status?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Your Honor. As of last night, 80.5% of our personnel, that is 179,964 out of the 222,560 were fully vaccinated. And we have 16.75% or 37,280 who are waiting for the second vaccine. So 2.75%, ma'am, or 6,116, ito pa yung hindi pa nababakunahan. But based on our online continuing survey, less than half of 1% lang po yung may hesitancy sa bakuna natin. And we respect them, but eventually, it started from more than 50% yung we believe that eventually lahat po kami magpapabakuna.
Actually, General Eleazar, maganda ho yung yung fully vaccinated nyo. Almost 80%, 2 dose na yung nakakuha.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, for Metro Manila, kasi andito po yung well, we can say the epicenter, 90% of our personnel have been fully vaccinated, with remaining 8% waiting for the second vaccine.
Okay. At least yung mga huhulihin nyo, hindi na ho sila matatakot na mahawa ng COVID dun sa mga pulis na manghuhuli sa kanila.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And then, meron din ho ba kayong programa na, yun na, same question, na to retrofit your facilities? Like, alam naman ho natin dahil yung COVID is here to stay, na may mga, I guess, na may mga police stations kayo na ba kailangan gawing well-ventilated? May ganun ho ba kayong inventory of your stations na mukhang kailangan siya i-retrofit kasi it can cause spread or hindi siya COVID resilient?
We have, yes, part po yung aming tinitingnan, but Your Honor, we have directed all our commanders and we have police units all over the country in each city municipality. So they're just, we told them to observe the guidance or the requirements provided by DOH in our working arrangement for those who are working in the station. Pero marami din tayo kasi ma'am na to be able to comply with this requirement, the work from home or alternative working arrangement is still being followed, particularly among our non-uniform personnel na kung kinakailangan, they're still working from home. But of course, for the uniform personnel, nagagawa po natin ang paraan yun, and we just require them to adhere to the minimum public health standard, particularly the wearing of face masks and still wearing face shield if inside our police stations.
Okay. And General Eleazar, for next year, I think ang budget niya for capital outlay is 3 billion. Tama po ba?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I suppose 3 billion.
Yeah, 3.12 billion.
Which is, well, we can say that it's just 1.6% of the total budget of the PNP for next year.
Yes, and in fact ho, ang mata-target lang na construction na to na ng police stations are only 53 lang po for buong bansa. For nationwide, 53 police stations lang ang matatayo. Tama po ba?
Yes, yes, His Honor. That is actually an increase from 14 police stations for 2021 this year.
But General Elizar, what is the need?
Well, actually, we need 600. We need 600 police stations to be constructed so that they can be at par with the standard police stations that we should have, Your Honor.
Naku, 600 ho, kung with your present budget, mukhang matatagalan ho ata ma-achieve itong 600 police stations.
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, I've learned that it will need 25 years for us to construct all of these police stations na kailangan pa namin. That is why we are banking on the proposed revitalization and comprehensive and the capability enhancement program that's supposed to be tumatakbo na, ma'am, that ang proposal doon is 128 billion pesos for the PNP para po mapunuan lahat ng gaps namin, not only for the police station but other basic requirements of the organization.
Okay, and aside from police stations, syempre kailangan nyo din hunong mga vehicles pang patrolya nyo. Currently ho, ilan yung working patrol jeeps ng PNP?
Yes, ma'am. For our mobility, ito. For mobility, for patrol cars, we need 1,039 patrol cars. And we only have 50% fill up. For patrol jeeps, we have 75% fill up. We need 2,092 patrol jeep, Your Honor. And for motorcycle, we have 61 fill up, needing 5,673 units more. And for personal carrier, we have 17% fill up, needing additional of 2,779. So, malayo po, ma'am, para doon sa aming requirements for our mobility assets.
In fact, for next year ho, you only have a budget for 200 patrol jeeps. Wala pa ho yung for motorcycles, for
Wala po, ma'am.
patrol cars.
That's just 10% of our requirement, the 200 out of the 2,000 patrol jeeps that our police stations need.
Okay. Siguro yun na lang po, Mr. Chairman, and maybe at the proper time we can introduce amendments para madagdagan naman tong equipment ng PNP. Yun lang po, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, very good points, Your Honor. And I'm sure that will be supported by our colleagues like the former PNP chief and now Senator Bato and Senator Ping, etc. Is Senator Francis Tolentino still online? He's next in line. May kasabay ho kasi tayong blue ribbon, kaya baka wala na ho siya. Senator Francis? No more? How about Senator Bong Revilla? Sir, are you online? Morning, good afternoon, sir. You're next. Wala na po. Any of our colleagues want to do a second round? You have the floor. Senator Bato, Vice Chair Bato, sir, you want to do a second round?
No more, Mr. Chairman. I am just ready to make a motion.
Move. Okay. How about, yeah, we'll turn it over. Vice Chair Win, you have the floor, sir. I think you're on mute, Vice Chair.
Hear me now?
Yes. Okay na.
Okay. Secretary, I just want to ask about the Stay Safe application. Because I understand that's under the DILG, and this has been a source of controversy and, to be honest about it, also agitation. Because among all the strategies that we employed to fight COVID, contact tracing is one of the weakest links, because we're not, the LGUs are not connected, and then our constituency find it very cumbersome to write down their names and numbers. And the whole contact tracing ecosystem is manual, mano-mano. So, ano po ang update dito sa Stay Safe? And ako personally, I use it very seldomly because it's not being used in all LGUs. But we all know that people travel from one LGU to the other. So what's the update on this Stay Safe app, Secretary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to give you an update on the Stay Safe. Right now, after the conduct of our rollout trainings regarding the use of Stay Safe, actually po, tumaas yung ating enrollment ng 196%. And right now, may additional 1.31 million registered users as of June 2021 as compared to the month of May. So as of October, Mr. Chairman, there are 7.6 million users and also 112,142 establishments, combination of government, press, and other organizations. And meanwhile, a survey by ISTMS of DLG determined that 573 cities and municipalities are now using Stay Safe. So, meaning to say, out of a total 1,634 total cities and municipalities, we have 573 cities and municipalities using the Stay Safe Philippines. Although meron po mga LGUs na gumagamit ng ibang contact tracing apps, about 38 cities and municipalities. But through the DICT, nagkaroon po ito ng tinatawag natin na interconnectivity between Stay Safe and other contact tracing apps. So, example po kung paano gamit itong ating Stay Safe. During the period, ito pong Stay Safe ay connected sa CD. Hello?
Go ahead, Secretary.
Pakabalik isang slide. Example po dito sa ating paggamit ng Stay Safe. Meron pong 333 confirmed COVID-19 positive users were validated and barred from entering business establishments from July 1 up to October 1 using the COVID-19 Data Repository Systems or CDRS and the digital logbook of the Stay Safe Philippines. Users were then reported and surrendered by establishment to the proper authorities. And also in the record, nakita natin, 496 establishments were visited by the confirmed COVID-19 positive users from July 1 to October 1. And of the number, 6 were tracked residing in NCR, while 97 reside in the sensitive region. So the Philippines grows contact tracing application by establishments and individuals, which can be held upon to report. Talaga pong ito ay combination ng manual and digital because we have some restriction also like the Data Act. If without violating the Privacy Act, Data Privacy Act, we can only really combine contact tracing. Pero nag-increase na po yung ating ratio. In fact, from the previous 1 is to 5 natin, and CR ay umaabot na to 1 is to 15. No? From the last month of 1 is to 12 ay naging 1 is to 15. So maganda na po yung
Sec, medyo choppy po yung linya ninyo. Nawawala ho. Mahirap sundan ho.
Choppy.
Opo.
One, two, three. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. As I've said, yung pong ating na-trace ay 333 na turned out to be positive visiting business establishments. And out of that number po, 496 establishments ang nabisita nitong mga COVID-19 positive using our Stay Safe Philippines. And as I said, it's a combination really of manual and digital contact tracing because there is a limitation which is the Data Privacy Act. And we cannot get the full information of the Stay Safe user. But through the combination, we are able to track them. And tumaas na po yung contact tracing ratio natin. From 1:5 ay naging 1:10 na tayo at sa Metro Manila. From 1:12 ay naging 1:15 na po tayo yung ating contact tracing ratio.
Sec, if I may suggest, no, to mandate the LGUs to use this, because what I have in mind is there's only one contact tracing app and QR code for the entire country. Kasi right now, to be honest about it, in my phone, I have 4 different contact tracing apps. Meron one for the airport, one for the seaport, one for Davao, and then one for Boracay pa pala. Meron pa isang different din sa Boracay, sa Aklan. So, ang dami ho no? Ang dami ho. And then you have Stay Safe. So, actually, 7 pala. No? And Valenzuela pala, meron pa pala. So, we're talking about 8 different contact tracing app and QR codes. No? And nakakalito ho. If I may suggest to the department to mandate Stay Safe as one unified and universal contract tracing app natin so that people will not get confused and you only have one unique QR code for yourself that can be used in different establishments. I think moving forward, this is much more efficient since Stay Safe seems to be a stable application already. And susunod naman po lahat ng LGUs pag sinabi ng DALG, and this is good for all of us. So that's my humble suggestion, Mr. Chair and Secretary, insofar as contact tracing and Stay Safe is concerned.
Yeah, very good, Sec. I second the statements of Vice Chair Win, yung interoperability po, yung at saka yung recording po para yung status nandoon po. Let's build up as we go along. Let's build up our database sana, Sec. Yung tama yung sinasabi ni Sen Win.
Thank you po, Mr. Chairman. I also agree and I support. Meron po kami pinalabas na Memo Circular number 2021-75 dated July 6, the implementation on the use of Stay Safe Philippines for cities and municipalities. Pero meron po mga existing city apps yung ibang LGU. So through the ICT po, nag-issue naman siya ng joint administrative order to provide guidelines and mechanism on the standardization, interoperability, and governance implementation of all online electronic applications for COVID-19 contact tracing. But what we are going to do through the IATF is we will slowly transform and mandate the LGUs to adopt the Stay Safe eventually until there's a smooth transition and transfer of data, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Sen Nancy, anything else on your end?
I'm okay na, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Sen Win, Vice Chair Win, you're satisfied, sir?
Yeah, I'm okay, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Bato. Yeah.
Mr.
Sen
Chair,
Nancy.
sorry, one last question.
Go ahead.
Secretary, ano ho ba yung policy natin ngayon in suspending barangay captains? Alam niyo naman na lalong-lalo na napalapit na yung eleksyon, eh laging nagiging issue dun sa baba yung 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 DILG ay nakikisama dun sa pamumulitika sa baba.
Mr. Chair, Madam, meron po talaga tayong policy dyan na to keep our barangay captains to be out of politics because supposedly these barangay captains are apolitical. So meron po tayong mga panuntunan. There are actually several ways on how to sanction a barangay captain, either through ombudsman, through Office of the President, or through the Sangguniang Bayan and Sangguniang Panlalawigan. So lahat po yan ay sinusuportahan ng DILG and we are the investigating arm. In all those, the DILG may conduct the investigation anytime if there is a valid complaint, Mr. Chair.
And hindi, ang Secretary, ang nagiging issue ho, yung taga-DILG, yung nakikisali dun sa, kumbaga dun sa away politika sa baba. By, I guess, ang perception is meron silang kinakampihan. Kaya may mga kapitan na mas madaling na sususpend compared to others. Ay, alam niyo naman, lalo na ngayon, election season na.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We will make sure po na we are not tolerating that kind of practices. Kung po pwede po maipagbigay alam kagad sa akin, sa ating mga city directors, kung ano po yung complaint and if there is any personnel within the DILG doing that, kami na po magsasanction, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Nancy. We're trying to get in touch with Senator Tolentino, but we were told he's at the Blue Ribbon. So, Vice Chair Bato, you want to be the one to do the honors?
Yes,
Or
is the
moving for the
good
approval
chairman-
of the budget?
Is the good chairman ready to hear my motion? Ready to accept a motion?
Yes, sir. We're ready to accept. I think we're the departments, Secretary Anyo have answered our questions today, and we appreciate
Mr.
that.
Chairman, sorry
very
may
much.
nagre-raise ng hand.
Sino yun? Who is that? Who is raising his hand?
The Secretary of the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos, Mr. Chair.
Secretary Saidaming Pangaruan po sa National Commission on Muslim Filipinos. Before you wrap up the meeting.
Yes, go ahead, Secretary, please.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo, mahal na Chairman, Senator Dara, our own Senator Bato, Senator Nancy Binay, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Win, and of course, kay Secretary Anyo and the DILG family. Thank you for recognizing me, Mr. Chairman. Sumulat po kami sa inyo, which was received by our office, I think, yesterday, requesting for the incorporation of the annual Hajj budget of 15 million to the fiscal year 2022 daan. Ang annual Hajj po, which is an Arabic term for group leader or the leader of the Hajj, is provided by Republic Act 9997. The Amiral Hajj is the official representative of the President of the Philippines and the leader of all Philippine Muslim pilgrims to Saudi Arabia annual Hajj. For Hajj 2019, ang Philippine pilgrims natin ay 7,243. So yung Amiral Hajj is tasked to oversee and supervise the smooth pilgrimage of our Philippine pilgrims. Marami pong salamat sa inyo, sa mahal namin mga senators at sa House for providing us a funding for the Amiral Hajj of 15 million for this year, 2021 Hajj. Kaya lang po, the Saudi government canceled the foreign pilgrimage to Saudi. It only allowed Saudi citizens and expatriates residing in Saudi to perform the Hajj this year. However, just recently, the Saudi government allowed foreign pilgrims to join the Umrah pilgrimage. Kaya in all indications, baka matutuloy ang Hajj next year. Unfortunately, ang DBM hindi sinama yung funding na binigay nyo sa amin na 15 million for 2022. Kaya we wrote the letter requesting for the reiteration of this funding for the year 2022. Kasi talaga pong kailangan namin ito sa Hajj. And secondly, dahil we were able to acquire ICT equipment, around 500 computers and laptops for our personnel nationwide dahil we are in our journey to ISO certification. By the way, we recently passed the stage 1 audit ng ISO in our plan to professionalize the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos. We acquired several ICT equipment, the provision of WLAN, voice over internet protocol. Kaya tumaas po yung internet bills namin. Yung mga utility bills namin tumaas, and we need funding for this. And meron po kaming request dito na 22 million for 2022. And lastly, meron kaming request dito na 9 million for our occupational safety and health program because this is required in the Joint Memorandum Circular 2020 ng DOH, NOLI at saka the Civil Service Commission, instructing all government entities to establish the respective OSH committee. Kaya kailangan po namin ito to provide HMA personnel with medical and dental privileges, health awareness programs, safety equipment, swab test, and other activities related to COVID-19. Yan lang po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary Pangarungan. Could you please give us your wish list in writing? I will also ask that from the Secretary and all the attached agencies. And sana in order of priority, because funds are very tight this year because as noted by our colleagues during the DBCC, parang hindi COVID budget yung sinubmit po ng DBM. And because there were no funds for contact tracing, no funds for testing outside of the booster shot, no funds for the testing of the 12 to 17-year-olds, no funds for testing also, contact tracing, no funds for the SRA, the risk allowance of our health workers. So with the understanding of the department and all the other agencies, those will be our utmost priority, I think, going into 2022, yung health response po ng bansa. Because that's our very existence at under threat. So I think as you will admit, self-preservation is the ultimate goal of any individual or society. So let's preserve ourselves muna, and then we can go towards the other more lofty goals like self-realization, self-actualization, Your Honors. No? So thank you. We'll ask the agencies, but nonetheless, we'll also try to consider, for the record, last year, the Senate raised the budget of the DILG family by more than 3 billion with the amendments proposed by Senator Bato, Senator Ping, Senator Nancy, Senator Win. Nagtulungan po kami para itaas po dahil nakita natin 85% nga napupunta sa PS. So yung mga nabanggit ng ating mga kasamahan, yung mga body cams, yung mga police cars, yung mga police stations, hindi talaga fire stations, hindi nabibigyan po ng pansin over time. So we're trying to do that. Kumbaga, let's liken it to doing something while you're also running, no? Running in place. Mahirap po talaga. But please trust in your lawmakers to make some difficult judgments, Your Honors. So Senator Bato, will
Mr. Chairman, sorry ha.
Yes,
Last na lang
Senator
talaga.
Nancy.
No,
Oh,
I just want to ask.
we'll give you 10 minutes. Mukhang malagi kami naisip eh.
Hindi,
You have,
hindi.
you have
Kasi
10 minutes, ma'am.
nabanggit yung contact tracing. What is the current ratio na ba ngayon? Kasi sabi nila 1:4, 1:6. So ano na ho ba talaga yung current ratio ng contact tracing natin?
Let's ask the Secretary. Perhaps he knows, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ang ratio po natin ngayon ay national po ay 1:10. Dito po sa National Capital Region ay 1:12. Pero according po kay Chairman Benhar ay lately ay umabot na po sa 1:15 ang contact tracing ratio sa NCR. But on national po 1:10. And of course, we will aspire for a better contact tracing ratio efficiency po.
And what is that number po, Secretary? That ideal?
Ang ideal po according kay General Magalong ay 1:37. Pero ito po ay yung mga situation po na walang community quarantine, walang tinatawag tayo mga restrictions. Pero sa atin po, mahirap ma-achieve yung ganung number kasi meron po tayong mga lockdowns, meron po tayong mga community quarantine classification. Limited na yung movement at kukunti lang talaga yung close contacts, Mr. Chair.
And yun lang, Mr. Chair, kasi alam naman natin, di ba, for us to win the battle against COVID, we need to beef up our tracing, testing, and treatment, di ba? So kung ang ratio natin is 1:10 when the ideal is 1:37, parang ang layo-layo natin. And ay siguro, Mr. Chairman, baka ito yung isa pang kailangan din na pondohan talaga for us to be more efficient when it comes to tracing. Yun lang pa, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Are you sure? Baka may maisip ka pa, Sen. Nancy. Sure ka na? Pwede na magsara. Okay. No, but very good point regarding contact tracing. We cannot forgo that. That's a necessity of any good strategy against COVID, along with the vaccination, of course. So any other agency who wishes to, let's give a chance, perhaps. There any other agencies that want to speak? If none, our Vice Chair Bato de la Rosa, the Rock of the Philippines, will move. Your Honor, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. But before I make my motion, I just would like to manifest na yung request ni Chairman Pangarungan ng NCMF I am inclined to support it. I perfectly understand the explanation of our good chairman about budget prioritization, pero i-manifest ko lang na talagang maliit lang yan na bagay pero napakalaki po ang impact niyan sa buhay ng ating mga Muslim brothers and sisters. So I am giving my support to the request of the good chairman ng NCMF. And Mr. Chairman, being a member of the DILG family for during the most productive years of my life, it is my honor to move for the approval of the budget of the DILG family to be endorsed to the plenary. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Second,
thank you.
Mr. Chair.
And we assure you we will work on the request of our brother Muslims in the NCMF. Vice Chair Bato, any objection to the motion? There being
Second.
none, the motion is approved as duly seconded, and the budget of the DILG and the attached agencies are approved at the committee level without prejudice to any increases as may be proposed by our vice chairs and our members. Congratulations and thank you to Secretary Anyo and his USEX, ASEX, General Elezar, Secretary Pangarungan, and the other agency heads who have spent their day here with us. Thank you very much, and we wish you a good day. Stay safe, Your Honors. And to our colleagues, of course, who are still here from the beginning. Vice Chair Bato, Vice Chair Win, Senator Nancy, salamat ng marami sa inyo, sa napakasipag po ninyo. Thank you very much, Your Honors.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Congratulations sa inyong lahat.
Ingat po. See you tomorrow. Meron tayo.
Meron pa.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Maraming salamat po.